everybody, and welcome back to the North American LCS. We're happy to be joined by Skara, who's been having a pretty good day on the Rift right now. Skara, congrats on the win.
Thank you. I feel really good about it.
So, coming into this game, right, we heard in sort of the pre-game interviews that you've had a pretty bad scrim record against EG, but you guys have been on fire recently. If I heard this properly, that EG been doing well in scrims for the last couple of months or something, and then you guys were like playing really well in the LCS, though.
I think Kitty would just trolled those interviews like really badly. We haven't played EG in a while, though, so we don't know how they perform in scrims, but when we did play them, it was like during relegation, and we did pretty well.
Oh, okay.
So something that we have heard a lot about, though, is your new analyst that you guys have. It seems like he's helping out a lot, and definitely the whole strategy of having QDPie visualize everything on the map as a turret and just killing all turrets all the time seems to be working out. Can you explain that a little bit more?
Well, Kitty really doesn't like his role, so we tried to pinpoint the role down to one factor, and we're like, look, you're a turret killer. Like, you're a demolition expert. Like, you're pretty much Ziggs if he was just physical damage with no spells. So we had him visualize every unit on the map, every creep, every hero, every tower as a turret. Well, the tower turret is redundant. So we feel like that's increased his play, his level of play, because all he thinks about right now is just killing turrets. If there's 10 creeps on the map, that's 10 turrets for him to kill. So he's got a really easy answer now.
So how do you weigh in the dragon versus taking turrets? Because you guys went for 2 turrets top, gave up 1 bottom turret and 1 dragon. Would you take that every day?
We'd probably take that every time. Like, even if Dragon gave more gold than it does now, we would still think the additional map pressure is just huge. Like, it lets us be able to make plays, and that's really what we wanted to do.
All right, so then actually let's get into some of the plays you guys made throughout the game. Mid lane, about 20 minutes in, you guys took mid inhibitor and took a big team fight off of that. We have a replay of that if you want to walk us through what happened in a pretty big game-changing fight here.
There's nothing here. We're just sieging. We know we're ahead right now by a considerable amount. We knew they had to engage, and Leona was coming from the back. As soon as they stacked up on me here, I knew the game was over because we got a full minefield and the 3-man Jinx rocket. As soon as that hit, like, the problem with their comp is they have to stack up on top of us, and as long as they're not ahead, that's fine, or as long as they're not split pushing us, that's fine. But as soon as they have to stack up, they eat all of our AoE and they just explode into pieces.
So I actually want to press you with something there. You just said that as long as they're not split pushing, as long as they have to stack up, how did you guys draw EG then into stacking up against you guys?
The early turrets really helped because they helped us establish a lot of map pressure, and we were able to get really good deep wards. So we were able to see like all their potential gank routes, and because of that, we were able to just choose which objective we wanted, like which dragon, which turret, and all of that, and be able to just take very clean fights. Like, if we had ended the game with 0 kills, it would have been fine. But we knew they eventually had to force in on us, and as long as we played it out well, we'd be able to win the game.
Was that a factor in your Ziggs build? Because you didn't go with a defensive item, and you knew like if they were all going to collapse on you, then you guys would get AoE damage off, or was that like a lane build that you were
I think the Ziggs build was just like kind of greedy. It didn't really matter what I built as long as it wasn't a Zanya. It's like I can't go full defensive. In that specific team comp, they just need me doing a lot of damage. So as long as I'm able to produce a lot of damage, like I was considering going 2 rings death cap just to get that early mid-game spike. But I decided for a Seraph Shroud just because I'm a little bit greedier. And
okay.
I didn't really know if it was going to work out, but it seemed to work out okay.
Well, let's talk about your teammates. Obviously, you're very proud of them. You guys came back, and now you're on a streak. How has Cruiser been fitting in with the team, you know, not only in the games, but also in the home life, because that's important to Dignitas?
Cruiser's doing really well. Like, he's actually a really funny guy, and he performs really, really well. Like, we first came in, we had maybe our doubts. Like, he performed the best out of all of our applicants, but we still weren't sure if that was, like, good enough. But he's just been able to up his level, and I feel like having our regimented practice and regimented like drills have helped him become a better player. And we weren't sure if that was going to happen, but we just lucked out there, and so he's becoming like a really strong top lane force.
Well, it's good to hear that Cruz is doing well. Talk to me then about the Dignitas family overall. You guys started out 0-2, had to keep your hopes up. Now you're on a 4-game winning streak. What's this like for Dig?
It's just good. Like, we realized that we used to try to hype each other up at the start of every game. Like, we used to be like, hell yeah, guys, we're going to win the game. It's going to be easy. We're going to smash all of our lanes. And we realized we performed terribly when we tried that. Like, we couldn't really control ourselves. We'd go in for these crazy-ass plays, and then we'd just suicide. Like, we'd all die, or some stupid stuff would happen. So we go into every game very calm, very collected. We want to be I think this is how we stated it. If like being fully hyped up is at a 10, we want to be at around a 5. So we just want to go in, go over our game plan, and play very calm and collected. And if we just do that, it's when we perform the best.
When it seems by the end of the game, you guys are at 10s. The clip of Kiwi Kid yelling because they won.
We thought the game was over, and we're like, why is the Nexus still up? And Cruiser's like, help me, please, guys. I'm like, okay, my bad.
Well, it worked out for you guys. Scar, thank you very much for your time. Congrats on your win. And, of course, we'll see more of you guys throughout the season. We got more LCS coming up, guys. Let's send it across the studio to Riven Jat. But first, a little sound to set the mood as we get into our next match.
When I think of CLG, I don't know, we talk trash and then we like win at every PAX. Like, they didn't make it to Worlds. Well, they did make it to the analyst list though. I don't really hate them, but there's just sometimes where I don't really like them either.
Strong words from Dyrus coming into our final match of the day. It's going to be Team Solo Mid versus Counter Logic Gaming. El Clasico, if you will. A rivalry in the NA before Cloud9 became the dominant force and TSM tried to reclaim their Spring Split champion title. One thing you can count on, whenever these two teams meet, it always gives us something to talk about.
Yeah, Rib, and nobody can forget the base race from week 3 of the LCS Summer Split at MLG Anaheim. Let's take a look at that.
TSM wants to backdoor this entire base with Niet up, but the minions would end the game on TSM's base.
And here we go, Nian, can you be a hero? The Nexus will die so fast. The last
TSM's Nexus is naked.
It's taking so much damage. Can Wild Turtle outdamage a bunch of minion waves? Nian goes in. He finds Wild Turtle. Wild Turtle goes down. Double kill. Triple kill for Nian. And the minions will try to end the game. Dyrus, can you do it? More damage.
There are so many minions right now.
The minion waves respawn
Kill
and
them faster,
buy
Dyrus.
a little bit of
It's
time.
over.
But it's not enough. Counter Logic Gaming in 60 minutes. The minions backdoor the base.
I don't even know what to say.
A moment of League of Legends that will always raise the, I don't even, it's goosebumps every time.
Every time. I've seen that clip 50 times maybe at this
Nerd
point.
chills.
It's nice.
Every single, and then double lift, getting the double lift on Neon.
And I think it's made even better because this is like the oldest rivalry we have in competitive League of Legends. All time, CLG is actually 17 and 14 against TSM at live events. But it's been so long, as Dyrus was saying, since CLG has had meaningful victories against TSM. It's always like TSM wins the big events. It was back in 2011 that CLG won a best-of-3 against these guys.
And you still get glimpses of greatness, like their win over Curse. We talked about the stranger elements of the game, but it's worth mentioning that CLG showed strong team coordination.
Yeah, so going back to last week, CLG's game against Curse, they can close out games if they get ahead. Then they can play their objective game. Their rotations have gotten a lot better. But they still have to prove that they can get ahead without some Afro Moon miracle steal at Blue Buff at level 1.
So meanwhile, Team Solo Mid's got their weapon of mass production. Week 1's MVP, Bjergsen. He ended the week leading the NALCS in kills.
Yeah, so he's been able to shut down enemy mid laners with LeBlanc, which because there's Hotshot and Bjergsen in this game, we're probably not going to see. But has also been strong on Zed. Really anything he's put his hands on, he has turned to gold at this point. So this pickup has not been a failure for TSM. It has been spectacular.
I can't believe one thing has brought so much momentum to that team, and they filled such big shoes at the same time. Right now, we're going to check out the starting lineups. On the blue side, it's Team Solo Mid. The top lane is Dyrus, Odd One in the jungle, Bjergsen in mid lane, Wild Turtle at 80 carry, Xpecial on support.
And on the red side, we have Counter Logic Gaming with Nien in the top lane, Link in the jungle, Hotshot GG, second week in the mid lane, Double Lift on 80 carry, and Afromu on support to make the Rush Hour bot lane.
So we talked about it a little bit before. You know the LeBlanc's going to be banned out versus Shifter versus Bjergsen. And we saw that it actually hurt Coast a little bit. So I wonder if Bjergsen has something else up his sleeve other than that Zed may get banned out too.
Well, it's not even that it's going to be banned out against Bjergsen. It's that since Hotshot GG has such a limited champion pool, there were 4 LeBlanc bans against Hotshot in the last week. Bjergsen, on the other hand, has played a very wide range of champions. He's played Gragas in the loss, but then Zed, LeBlanc. He has plenty left. I mean, I think I saw people online hoping he plays as AP Alistair. Like that's his for fun thing that he does sometimes when he's solo queuing. But it might actually be good enough to take down Hotshot GG.
Bring back the Shushay, Season 1 Fnatic.
Lichbane this time. He just headbutt punch.
I still remember them hitting that TF and just taking away half his health on Against All Authority. But as we move into this matchup, something we have to talk about is Hotshot versus Bjergsen. Hotshot's coming in as the filler still. He's gaining ground in mid lane right now, yes, but it's not his main position.
Yeah, Hotshot has to go against the Week 1 MVP right here.
Yeah.
He played Nidalee 3 times last week. Had a very poor time when he had to play Cassiopeia. And if I was actually TSM here, even though there's a lot of things you generally want to ban against CLG, like you might want to take down double as champions, you probably won't get a Jinx out of his hands. I think you throw 2 bans at Hotshot. I think you take out Nidalee and take out LeBlanc, and then you see what he has left.
I feel like Hotshot sits there at night. That's the last waking moment. He's like, if everybody's going to ban me, I got to make this champion pool bigger. And it's always easier to say, but it's so hard to do to get a champion to that professional level in a few weeks.
Yeah, it's going to be really tricky for him, especially because Hotshot's the type of player who masters champions over hundreds and hundreds of games, but doesn't necessarily pick them up super quickly. He needs to spam champions before he gets efficient with them.
And what was his LeBlanc stats when it came
he played 200 or 300 games in the first week or 2.
That's not normal.
Hey.
He got it down.
Yeah.
I mean, he got love from Faker on that one.
So it made him a Pro League of Legends player. It's dedication, Riv.
Yeah, it is dedication. It all takes that dedication. You got the time and the dedication and the want. You're going to get it. Here we are. This is the want in Champion Select. We're going to see that from both teams. And Hotshot bans.
All right, let's see if TSM gets a LeBlanc ban as well. CLG, on the other hand, not sure what direction they're going to go here. We've seen some varying bans so far on the 4.1 patch. Not too many huge trends. Cassidy's the biggest one, for sure. Still sitting at that 100% pick ban.
And the ends factor of champions kind of falling into the bans here now. Brought out Zach the other week, which was pretty cool. It shows that Nian can still go outside the box.
First Zach in a while. It was very good win for them, but you have to pick Zach against not super strong laners. I think he picked it against a Shyvana, which was dangerous-ish, but he was able to survive. With Mundo banned, it would be great to play a Zach against a Mundo, just because Dr. Mundo's very non-interactive in the lane.
Right. You both get safety there.
Now with this out, I actually expect Renekton to have a fairly high prevalence in this matchup.
And a ban that made it all the way to last pick, Elise, is out of this game.
Yeah, that's a ban. TSM got a banned away themselves a little bit there. The odd one is usually incredibly comfortable playing Elise. That's kind of the champion he got himself back into super top tier with.
Yeah.
Very surprised at that ban. This would tell me, okay. They banned Elise to force the LeBlanc ban from CLG, because otherwise Bjergsen would have just picked it and probably proceeded to kill Hotshot multiple times.
And again, with the mid lanes being so focused, the supports finding themselves through to this week.
Yeah, support bans have definitely diminished. I'd say X-Special's continuing his trend. In the 10 times he played CLG last year, he only played Sona, Thresh, and Lulu. So he's Thresh, perfect for him.
You remember those all-star flays against St. Vicious in their game versus Curse? I think X-Special got some pretty good kudos for that game.
Oh, yeah.
We'll see what they
He's
have
a good
next.
Thresh player.
He is a
we can
very
say this. And Double Lift will know all
player.
about it, because he got to lane with his Thresh.
You don't go to all-stars for no reason. We'll see what CLG has. They are taking their time. Maybe they didn't expect to see, like you said, TSM somewhat banning themselves out.
Yeah, they've had hit or miss pick and ban phases. Even in their incredibly strong victory over Curse, their pick and ban phase wasn't actually that strong. Even their coach Monte Cristo said that they got outpicked entirely in that game, but won basically because of the blue steal miracle.
Whenever we see a Kha'Zix, a little ahead of ourselves, but we always see a Lulu. But with these two picks, there is kill potential coming out of CLG.
Hey, that's most likely a jungle Kha'Zix, actually. Link has played one game. It was their win against Dignitas on jungle Kha'Zix. I wasn't sold on it. I feel like there's a huge gap in Kha'Zix jungle, and it's more of a solo queue pick, and here's why. It's because he needs to get ahead to be effective. He needs to get his Lizard and a Tiamat. His Lizard Elder and a Tiamat to start being strong. But he also can't duel other junglers early game. So against very strong counter-ganking junglers like the Odd One, all Odd One has to do is follow Link around, and he will come out on top.
Absolutely. And looking at Odd One, looking at the rest of the team on TSM, I'd say they are winning Champion Select right now. Those are some great picks for Team Comp.
Bjergsen getting the Gragas right here.
Yeah.
It's an incredibly contested pick around the world and has been for quite some time. Gragas just offers a little bit of everything, and especially in this matchup, because Bjergsen should have a monstrous advantage over Hotshot GG. It gives him the push wave and roam potential that he's probably going to have a lot of time to do if he starts beating Hotshot pretty well.
And that's actually what CLG's been all about, is roaming around. So if they can stop that, Maybe we can see CLG kind of put on the back burner for now. A double lift. Even though he got that loss on Ezreal, he takes it again.
And another Leona Ezreal combo. It's a pretty good damage spike from range if Leona ults and Ezreal just ults in as well and like throws a Mystic Shot. That's usually enough to kill someone. But there's a bit of anti-synergy right there, you know? It's the all-in support with the very defensive AD carry. This is telling me that CLG isn't planning on picking any type of peel for Hotshot GG in the mid lane. Maybe a somewhat lower utility champion, and Doublelift knows he's going to have to fend for himself already. And the only reason they haven't shown Hotshot's pick yet is because they don't want TSM to know with their final choice.
Looks like Dyrus is going to get himself a
Oh,
Shyvana.
never mind. My mind is broken. Ziggs is mid lane.
Right.
Doi.
First pick Ziggs.
Tell me what Nien's going to play. Probably something without that much team utility. And they were waiting to see Dyrus' top lane matchup.
I feel like there was a focus for Hotshot to pick Ziggs, maybe thinking Gragas would have been banned at some point in this game. Because that's what their first pick was. Gragas was open for them still. So
yeah,
interesting there.
Hotshot, not a Gragas player. He has played a little bit of Ziggs. So it's more of the, for Hotshot, this is more of the generic champion. Just pick a champion that's strong. Hasn't typically been good for Hotshot in the past when he does that. Have to see if it works out this time.
I've seen a bit of Trundle in the past. I wouldn't put it by CLG to use it, and especially in the hands of Nien. Very versatile player. He figures it out quick.
Yeah, Trundle is the right pick for them right here. We have seen very successful Trundle. He hasn't played it yet this season.
That's
it's
true.
a little difficult to get through the laning phase against Dyrus, but if he does, he will be stronger than Shyvana in teamfights, I think. It'll allow them to just ultimate. This is actually a nice synergy. You get to ultimate the tank, and then Kazakh can just try and eat the tank, who will generally maybe even isolate himself sometimes, and then take it to the rest of the team.
It's going to be a big one. As the team's loaded to the Rift, let's check out what you guys think as they head into the locker room. See if they're happy. See if you guys are happy. The votes come in. According to LOLesports.com, 84% of you think that Team Solo Mid is going to take this game. That, well, it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, that is the direction this rivalry has taken.
People have all day to vote. So those are locked in. Those aren't swaying votes because people are just getting home. Those are locked in, and the fans have spoken. For such a big percent to come out under TSM, you got to think Bjergsen, that name that's just been really putting them on top.
I mean, and the fact that CLG has been struggling a little bit. They finished 5th place in the summer split, did not make it to World Championships last year. A lot of roster turnover, still do not have Dexter, their European import jungler, who they plan on getting. It's a very tough time for CLG right now, and it would be a big upset if they could take down their longtime rivals, TSM, in this match.
He said they like him. They're good friends, but right now it's just not what it means to be. You're going to have to beat down your friend.
He just doesn't like him sometimes.
Yeah, just sometimes. This is going to be one of those times. When you face off on the big stage, head-to-head, both teams with a plethora of experience under their belt, many main stage games. Nobody on either team is a stranger to this.
No, these guys have been extremely experienced, especially with the throwback to Hotshot GG. He's been around since the start. He is the founder of Counter Logic Gaming. So the fact that he's still playing competitive here is pretty impressive.
It absolutely is impressive. You see the teams faced off there on the big screen, and we are flying in onto the Rift. The crowd is ready for this game. A huge matchup. It was the first in our Season 2. Coming in now. Season 3, thank you.
Yeah, we led the Season 3 spring split because this is the rivalry to watch.
God, we're already into Season 4.
COG
blows my mind.
It's the 2014 season.
Goes very fast.
We have changed the naming convention on that one.
This is true. 2014. So what does... we do see the Relic Shield coming out for Aphromoo, so a little bit of a change from what Crepo decides to go. He does want that cash money.
I remember talking to Aphromoo before the season started, just about support atomization and what his trends are, and he says he just pretty much always started with the coin and got to a Talisman of Ascension as soon as possible because he wanted to then force the initiations. Times have changed. He wants the gold, cash money.
It happens. It is the rush hour bot lane. They're going to make some good money together.
It will also allow them to shove early game if he can get a few last hits. The charged up auto attack execute on the first few melee minions definitely allows them to push for level 2 a little bit faster, as long as he can avoid just getting hooked early on, since the trade of Lucian and Thresh is very substantial.
It is substantial. It's a little weird, awkward moment. You kind of have to grab your wife when you got to be saved. and she's dead. So
You're talking about the lore matchup.
yeah,
I was really wondering where you're going with that.
as some would say, the wife steal lane.
As you don't know, obviously Lucian's wife is a soul inside Thresh's lantern.
Yeah, it's hiding in there. Just grab it. I'll save you. Like, ooh, no, I don't want to.
So, you know, Lucian's the bigger man for still playing with Thresh.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thumbs up to Lucian. Got to give him some credit. Wild Turtle's going to help him out in that one. And we'll see what the junglers can actually produce for their lanes as they start out. We're going to see if this ward thing changes, and it hasn't. Actually, we look down at the mini-map. They've all placed them out, chat. It's going to be dark again for jungle time.
Yeah, but I think jungle time might be a little bit less eventful here since both junglers are starting in a spot where they can go down to bottom lane with their very first rotation.
It's different. It's not both starting to go up.
They're not both starting blue.
Yeah.
We'll have to figure out what this pause is real quickly so we can get in. It seems like Wild Turtle has left the game. It's probably just relogging really quickly to get back in. Small little graphical glitch. Got a few of those running around, but
Yeah, it's in the air. It happens.
it's in the air.
It's
Airborne
just
bug.
in the air. It's airborne. But yeah, you want to get in the game, right? Your mouse settings are perfect. Everything else is perfect. If something feels off, you have the ability to stop it right there, and you can make it happen perfectly. Because, as we said, we've built up this game. They've obviously built it up to themselves. So maybe it's just another game. That's sometimes the way to go into it. Focus on it, just 0-0 all the way through. But it's going to be a big one. A lot of people are going to get behind one or the other after this.
I wonder how TSM is preparing for this one. Like whether CLG is still their big rival or whether just, we've moved on. It's actually Cloud9 now. Because if you actually look at the historical trends, sure, TSM wins like every time it really matters, but CLG wins the head-to-head 17-14. There was a split last season during the regular season, summer split. CLG won all 4 games against TSM. They had their number until they lost to them 2-0 in the playoffs. Just such a strange and storied history between these teams.
It's kind of like you don't do good on the tests all year, but you nail the exam when it comes time to have to do good on it.
One of the guys who doesn't study. Is that TSM?
It might be.
They're the team that don't study? Maybe their work ethic has improved this year, though. They've spoken a lot about that. Obviously, these guys been together for an extremely long time. Obviously, Bjergsen and Wild Turtle, the 2 newest additions to the team, but X-Special, Dyrus, and the odd one on TSM. These guys have been together since, well, Dyrus since early Season 2.
And when TSM brings on a player, Turtle clicked right away, Bjergsen clicked right away. It's definitely
They take their time and
a
bring on the
welcome
right
environment. Yeah, absolutely. Definitely taking the time in scouting the reports as they take in new champions, new players, I should say. Double lift, taking a good amount of harass from Turtle here, right over the minions. The Flays as well, so they're not really trading damage. They're giving it out.
Yeah, you could see that CLG was wanting to shove, but TSM wanted to do a little more, and they were more capable of it. Aftermu never got into execute range for minions and ended up taking a lot of harass before he could get the Relic Shield proc.
Great point. Just taking advantage of that on X-Special side. It says, come closer. And again, please, let me hit you. Nien and Dyrus, they're just going to waltz behind and back and forth of each other now as they farm it up. That lane's going to be, tilted by the junglers. We'll have to see who makes it up first. We're saying they're both going top side this time.
Yeah, these guys started the jungle top side.
Right,
most likely going bottom side. I would also not be surprised if CLG puts more emphasis on this bottom lane turret dance than most teams do for a couple of reasons. Obviously because Double Lift as a CLG player almost always demands all the ganks. But secondly, because their coach and analyst Monte Cristo has been the most vocal about thinking that the turret changes will change the game into just being 3 people bottom. So he's most likely coached his team to say, just send 3 people bottom because that's all that matters.
Right. Stop that from going down. It's quick gold, and Wild Turtle and Special are making sure the minions are right at the turret. And we see Link. He's actually been hovering here for quite some time, but he's not really losing too much. We got Odd One doing the same thing.
Yeah, Odd One's actually doing a whole bunch of farming, which isn't exactly what CLG is thinking was going to happen. I don't know what Link has planned here. He's been in that tri-brush for a while, but the minions are never getting pushed far enough back for him to approach the lane, and he ends up just having to go back after about 20 seconds of staring.
Yeah, they kind of overthought that one.
Yep.
He will be back
Going back
in.
again. Happy Feet, not good.
He's got the white there, so he's saying white time's enough for me. It came back up. Maybe I will come bottom, but Odd One's taking his time. He's not going. He's not doing it.
Well, unlike most junglers, Kha'Zix doesn't have any problems with the white because he gets the isolation very easily.
Hurts.
So that he wasn't actually having jungle Happy Feet. He just realized his white was up, went back and got it. And I do want to talk a bit more about the jungler starts in this one, because we saw right in the game previously, but with Dignitas, how they were still able to achieve 2 turret kills early just because they brute forced it down and they had a better team for pushing. CLG does not have a better team for pushing right now, and they're straight up in this 2v2.
So winning these early lanes is definitely going to be something that they want to have for themselves. Great moves by Bjergsen already to start poking Hotshot out of lane. He's going to start taking over in that region. It's his main spot. He should have it.
Yeah, and early on, Yen was doing quite well in the top lane as well. Darius went back early to get that second Doran's item. And Yen hasn't been pushed out whatsoever by Shyvana. If he can continue to trade farm or even just get more farm than Darius, I really do think Trundle is maybe the best scaler out of the top lane because he can steal resistance top lane. So the stronger his opponents get, the stronger he gets.
Just wait for Shiv to ult and then grab her. Just take everything she has, take it for, I guess not granted.
If he times it just right, actually,
yeah,
he can actually knock Shyvana out of her Dragon's Descent with the Pillar of Ice. It's possible because there's a very small displacement on it, and if he brings it up into the air as Shyvana's trying to fly over, it stops her.
We'll see if Nien has the coordination to do this. We'll see the back and forth. The Burnout's winning a little bit with that mixed damage, but Nien, he can still fight back. He's got a bit of sustain regen on his side.
And there were very minor Shyvana nerfs in the 4.1 patch as well. The Burnout does a little bit less damage at first tick. The minimum damage has been decreased. And obviously the maximum damage too, because it comes with the territory.
A lot of time being spent by Link in this bottom lane. I don't think he's wearing those buffs still. They have worn off, but they're still going to attempt.
Link's spending a lot of time here for not much payoff. They're hoping the TSM gets a little over-aggressive here. Aphromoo, I think, is being far too obvious with this bait here.
Yeah.
You wouldn't just be dancing around in that brush if you didn't have backup.
Well, Special has been throwing hooks. TSM is trying to gain the advantage. So like you said, there's a little too much of a behavioral change, and they see it.
Yeah, absolutely. They've been pushed in for the majority of this lane, and all of the sudden, Aphromoo is asking to be hooked. I don't necessarily like this play by CLG. I'd be very surprised if TSM goes for this one. They maybe think it's been long enough that Kha'Zix is gone, but they can see the behavior change.
And maybe Link is going bot because since Doublelift didn't have an awesome game last time, and you actually need to get an Ezreal going early.
Yeah, they're thinking that, but I mean, you need to get Hotshot and Nien going early.
Yeah,
I feel like, especially if you're picking Ezreal for Doublelift, he's just going to be wanting to farm here. And there's the gank from Mod1, just locking him down.
Good amount of damage. He chooses to go over the Wraiths as the Vault Breaker is going to be on pretty high cooldown right now. The barrel! Oh, he's going to put the barrier down. The Flame Breath does not equal either. Those changes.
So Hotshot escaped with a sliver of life, but mainly because TSM was not in sync with that gank. Odd1 initiated very early and did the brunt of the damage to Hotshot GG, but then Darius and Bjergsen, which could have just secured a very easy kill if they had all arrived at once, were very late and got very small amounts of damage down onto Hotshot. Just the Flame Breath and the ult.
Oh, great grab after the death of that minion. So well played, and the mechanics there of a little 1-2 from TSM.
Yeah, they're winning this lane. Actually, they're not. It looks like they're winning the lane because it's 68-60, but that's because the Relic Shield has actually shared 8 CS with Doublelift.
Still keeping themselves pretty safe, even though they've been losing in these engagements. We're only 8 minutes into the game right now. Looks like Link will actually take this for himself. And that's not going to go to Hotshot right now. They're not going to put a huge focus on him.
Honestly, Link needs the experience right now.
This is true.
He spent so much time waiting around in other lanes. Obviously, you'd think, oh, if a jungler's behind, just let your mid laner farm more.
Yeah.
I disagree. Kha'Zix can spam spells a lot in the jungle and actually benefit greatly off of this blue buff. And they need Kha'Zix to get ahead in order to be an effective jungler. So at this point in the game, knowing Hotshot has already gotten heavy mana regeneration from his itemization, the blue buff on Link is actually the proper choice.
Yeah, he's got to be big to be hit with an explosive cask as soon as he comes into the fight. Right now, he's nowhere near that. 44-35 CS in that jungle. The Odd One has been keeping himself farming. And like you said, CLG was expecting a lot more ganks from him this game.
Yeah. And one interesting thing to note is the gold generation that Aphromoo is getting out of that Targons are making up for the fact that CLG is losing in jungle and mid-farm from a team perspective a little bit. There you go. Another cannon was shared. That was 42 gold extra for Aphromoo. That wouldn't have existed if you didn't have that gold per 10 item. It's now generated 250 gold for him and his team. So that's a lot already, only 9.4 minutes in.
And we see the pockets, the gold getting so much. I think it was 2,700 on double lift. You said before that it's a little scarier to leave your lanes with these turrets so quickly going down now.
Yeah, these bottom lane guys wanted to put some focus on it. You know Wild Turtle can take down a turret very quickly,
Right.
especially on Lucian. Lucian and Jinx, the two newest additions to the league from AD carry perspective, kill turrets pretty damn fast.
Yeah, the turret decimators. Oh, Hotshot getting hit. Not a huge amount of damage. Oh, he gets bopped off the satchel charge, and it throws him horizontally across instead of into the end zone where it needed to go. A good kill there, but it's not over. Especially in the bottom lane gets hit up. The blue buff onto Link comes into play.
The ganks finally in the bot lane come to a bit of fruition, but the mid lane gank comes from TSM. They're just trying to trade carries a little bit right here. It was supposed to be Doublelift versus Bjergsen, but because it was a more chaotic kill in the bottom lane, Link ends up getting it, and Bjergsen walks away with the money.
Great coordination in both fights as Xpecial and Hotshot go down on either side. The kills make it 1-1 there. Really, first blood, not going to help too much since that second kill rings up the cash.
Yeah, obviously the first blood is worth a little bit extra. It's 400 gold for the kill versus 300, and then the appropriate amount in assists as well. So it's 600 gold for the first blood team-wide. Doesn't really matter, though. CLG more gold when all is said and done.
They are creeping
They're
a
sticking
little
in
bit
this
over.
one pretty well.
It's 11 minutes in. They've been able to find the small lead that we see in the gold. BF Sword Deceptor is what you're looking at in both inventories of the AD carry, and I'd be interested to see if Doublelift actually tries to go blue again this time, not really having anything to push him forward.
I know, it'll be very revealing to see if Doublelift changes up his build or not. A lot of the Ezreals I've seen recently go Blade of the Ruin King and Trinity Force for just extreme mobility on Ezreal.
Yeah.
But the fact that he's already built the BF Sword makes me think he's going to go Bloodthirster and then potentially into the Iceborne Gauntlets and Muramana build. That is his typical style. He might end up having some mana problems if he doesn't build at least a Trinity Force after that Bloodthirster. Maybe he's going to go that direction.
It looks like CLG, just like Dignitas, is focused quite a bit on damage. Lizard Elder going on to Link, as it would be for Kha'Zix. Well, we still have Oddone trying to build tanky. Oh, Hotshot gets hit there. Oddine's back in once again. He misses the Vault Breaker, but the Assault and Battery's there. The barrier goes down to safety. The Mega Inferno Bomb does not have enough damage.
That was one of those situations where Hotshot should have just accepted his fate. Once he got blown in the wrong direction by the Gragas ultimate, and Vi was on the way, there was no escaping that, but he still burned everything. That means the repeat ganks and the repeated camping of ganking is going to happen for Hotshot. He's in trouble.
Teams have definitely been playing different styles against Hotshot. They left him up with Cassiopeia and then left him alone all game because they knew he wouldn't be a factor. They're putting a little respect here into the Ziggs, and they know they got to take him down.
TSM's definitely trying to pick on Hotshot right now. Old rivalry, to say the least. They played a lot of games against Hotshot back in the day.
Make sure they get him out. He was focused in pretty much whatever lane he was in. You have to remember when he was on the Cho'Gath and he would draw 5 people to him, and then your team would just do Baron because there's 5 people on the other side of the map.
It's interesting. Hotshot's strategy has always been to create as much map pressure as possible regardless of dying. It doesn't work as well in mid lane because he can't get turret pressure. Link in a bit of trouble here as Gragas comes in.
Ooh, that was just like a spear almost. Yeah.
Yep. He wanted to go back for more. Would have been bad.
Not the ideal situation to be in with that Bjergsen power. He has finished the Athenes. These guys are actually ready to fight those objectives. Dragon's Descent. Looks like he's just going to farm. Nien's got the ult on, but you guys aren't really going on each other.
He's losing out a little bit on creeps right now. I wonder if he can finish him off. He's getting a lot of damage down. Blade of the Ruin King's speed is gone now.
Ooh, wow, that was a great flash. That's a
tricky wall.
One of the thicker walls. Very nice job. He had to kind of coordinate it and take a second to find which way he wanted to go. More pushing by Wild Turtle and Xpecial in the bottom lane, and that one was forced to be shifted on. They're really working the minion kill grab technique.
So let's take stock again on what's just happened, because Doublelift, that lane is up by about 15 CS. We have to consider all of Aphromu's farm to actually be on Doublelift as well. And then, well, in a strange way, you can almost double it, because the shield actually does double the CS. So if we're thinking about total gold, they're up by much more. My math is messed up in my head. Here's an ult.
Goes the Solar Flare onto Xpecial. They get a very nice combine with the True Shot Barrage. Link's on the backside. He doesn't even get the assist as he jumps in, unfortunate.
Well, that was the Leona ult into just ranged Ezreal. If his ult doesn't hit any creeps, it also does an excessive amount more damage. It has huge damage fall off on creeps. So right now, CLG is still looking pretty good, despite Hotshot getting camped and losing a whole bunch. The rest of their lanes are actually quite successful.
This is interesting. They just went for Dragon, so you think TSM would have played a bit safer to not allow something like this to happen. CLG put the pieces in place, and they're able to go for it right away. Afromu gets pushed aside. He's burning down, and it's going to be Turtle from the backside. He walks into a kill. There's the ultimate, but the flash comes in. Quick fingers from Link.
I gotta say, when everything's done for that one, CLG comes out on top again. They don't care about Afromu dying. He's still got his gold. He's still got his gold generation. They got the dragon. No one else died. It burned a Bjergsen flash out an ultimate, which actually takes pressure off of Hotshot. Everything about that dragon exchange works positively for CLG.
They're going to be coming up with a bit of gold in their favor. Bjergsen is really playing the zone game onto Hotshot. He knows to stay far behind the turret right now and not really calling for too much help from Link. They're actually not trying to go back on Bjergsen.
And I finally thought through my Relic Shield point.
Bam.
It is like doubling the CS. Because not only is Doublelift getting the gold right now, so it's like he's at 150 CS, that doesn't take away from Afromu's 16. So they're actually about 32 CS up on TSM's lane when you combine them.
And it looks like they're able to get the kills. We did see that come into effect. Power coming down onto Xpecial just a few seconds ago. Made it 3-2 now. They're still behind in 1. But they found the lead in gold. The Dragon was very nice movement after the kill. It's something CLG has been working on and doing great, is movement.
Yeah, they're really sticking in this one, and I think their late game scaling is actually pretty strong. Depending on how powerful Bjergsen gets, that's the big fear for them, whether he can take out Hotshot and Doublelift in one fell swoop of a couple buttons. And Doublelift with the Chain Vest, that's telling us he's going Iceborne Gauntlets, I think.
Oh,
you don't build the Chain Vest for too many reasons, unless he's going GA after Bloodthirster, but that would not be wise.
He did have quite a kick in money just recently, so maybe he thinks it'll keep flowing in. If he hits that plateau, it's going to be a bit painful in the poke damage come later. 17 minutes now. We just saw the Dragon go down, so we're going to be back to the laning for a little bit. Link has been hovering in lanes and not finding too much.
No, but he has improved in effectiveness a little bit just because he could secure that dragon for his team, and he put a lot of dragon pressure
finding it other places
on the rest of them. As you can see, Afromu took another cannon minion. That's the one you always want to go for if you're Relic Shield support. I like talking about Relic Shield because I like running 2 of them with like double bruiser lanes. So,
you mean like Darius Maokai?
Maybe.
Oh man,
I like that.
I never would have guessed.
I like that combo.
500, 600 gold lead. Very, very small right now. And the odd one shows face, but they throw down the ultimate right after the turret goes down. Afromu gets a little hypey there, and it's going to be Link coming in from the backside, but he gets the assault and battery. They take him down instantly. Beautiful focus as the ignite ticks down onto the odd one. They're still trading back and forth. A double kill coming in for Turtle. The bomb from the backside isn't enough, though. 80 carry versus 80 carry as they go toe-to-toe. Red buff versus not. And the skill shots were hit by Doublelift the whole time. Look out, Bjergsen's making his way in.
And we have to remember Doublelift's going to win that duel because he has a Chain Vest already, so he has all the armor against Wild Turtle.
That Chain Vest won't do much now.
Oh, that's a lot of magic damage, actually. So look out. Let's see how many skill shots he can land and if he can juke the spells.
He hit the slow. He's got 1 HP. Stealing the health back. The Ignite goes down to half that healing. Bjergsen almost loses out on the kill, but he follows through.
Unfortunately, Doublelift used his shift and didn't dodge any of Bjergsen's bursts, so that is not exactly what he wanted to do. Well played by Bjergsen to get that kill. Nien, though, on the offensive.
Nien definitely wants and has to get this kill. Bjergsen got very big, and he gets pushed off of this. That could be a Flame Breath and an attack by Dyrus, but the chomp from Nien could also be the kill.
See, Nien is stuck in between a pretty bad place right now because Nien doesn't let the creeps get to the turret. He's trapped.
On the backside, Dyrus gets what he wants out of this, possibly. Gets the speed out of the movement. Does not have Vault Breaker to get back in range. Link's there for the slow.
Stop him.
He puts a beautiful pillar up, and he jumps into the punch in the face and takes it in the kisser. Bjergsen finds himself across the map. The fat man is moving. Xpecial comes in with the play. He wants a piece of the assist, and it never ends. 2 kills go on to CLG. TSM start to pull away.
And Dyrus around the back finished off Nien. 2 kills for them right there. The chance coming through.
Afromu gets hit up the True Shot barrage. Whoa, they wanted back on that one. There is just no end to this fight.
Why CLG? Yeah, it may have ended now.
The kick had ended.
For a second. Why CLG tried to continue that fight is a massive miscalculation of their strength right there. it ended up getting both of them killed because Link tried to turn. It was a great save.
Yeah.
But just can't stay. Disengaged from the barrel. Aphromu's still looking to ult someone.
He just used that Gragas barrel. It is coming up super fast.
Thing's on a short cooldown.
It is.
Actually.
It is.
Yeah. Especially when he's got a blue buff and his Athene's Unholy Grail. It's 58.5-second cooldown on the Gragas Explosive Cask.
Yeah.
Every minute.
Well,
and minute is a short time in this game.
It seems really long. It's not long when you're warding. If you're waiting for your ult, it seems like forever. 8-5 here, and this game has definitely given us something to talk about, chat. It's exactly what the fans wanted, and it's been back and forth, brutal, and we're only 20 minutes into the game here.
Classic TSM CLG rivalry right here. And one thing that's surprising about CLG's team is despite having a Ziggs, the Demolitionist, they're not able to kill any turrets. It's because Hotshot has been getting picked on so heavily. That's just Wild Turtle with the Bloodthirster Machine basically creating a third turret kill for TSM.
And that Sheen's already going to help start taking down these structures here. We saw Dyrus get the top one. They take advantage of the middle one as well, just on the back side. He tucked his wings in for that one.
And yeah, now that TSM has 3 turrets down, it is a very critical moment in the game. The Dragon will come back up in 10 seconds. Whether TSM can completely control this or whether CLG can adequately defend this, because if CLG wins a fight, since the turrets will be very close to them, they'll be able to get the turrets back and slingshot themselves ahead in gold. But if TSM gets the Dragon, and even a fight win, that'll put them 5,000 or 6,000 ahead, and will also block CLG for even longer to get access to the turret gold that they haven't taken down yet. This fight means a lot, Riv.
They are charging up. Odd One looks not too much damage from that cask, actually. It looks like CLG gets the jump on this one, but it looks Link going down. Wild Turtle getting really nice shots on this one. Odd One has put himself in the back line in the 4v1, and he actually comes up with a kill for himself. No, Doublelift gets it. It's not the kill, but Bjergsen follows up on the Retribution. A 1 for 3 with Odd One going deep.
That's the fight that TSM wanted. They could not kill Bjergsen, but Bjergsen could kill them. This is huge for TSM because now not only does CLG not get the Dragon, they do not get turret pressure. This initiation wasn't the cleanest thing because Leona ult actually missed. Bjergsen kind of smelled the gank coming. Ward was over the wall. He baited it out perfectly and meant CLG overcommitted. Odd One could get in the back line to zone out the CLG damage. Even though Doublelift finished off one, Bjergsen got him in Retribution, and that is just 3 kills for 1, plus the Dragon, and a 5,000 gold lead now for TSM.
And that 5,000 gold lead just turned into a Rabadon's, that Talisman of Ascension coming out, the Boots of Lucidity as well. These guys are making headway in core items, and they're still being recipeed by CLG. The fights are falling behind for them. They even had the upper hand in that. It looked like they came out of nowhere and surprised TSM, but they refocused immediately.
That was the point of them trying to make that gank attempt, but they were right on top of Ward. That's the unfortunate thing. Look at all the spray of wards that TSM has around the Dragon area. You know, they said in 2014 season it is the team's responsibilities to ward because one person can only put down 3 wards regular by himself. They're definitely warding as a team right now for TSM.
CLG turns away from Dyrus. They wanted nothing to do with one champion because they do not know what's on the other side of the fog of war. They have a ward over by Tribrush, but that's for the Baron engagement. Now the CLGs, or rather TSM's in their jungle, they're almost blind.
Yeah, not much vision. That's what happens when they get the 3 turrets down.
Yeah.
Which was why that Dragon fight was so critical for CLG to be able to come out on top. At this point, CLG has moved completely to their back foot. And especially because Bjergsen has just completed his Rabadon's death cap, the tower siege is really strong for TSM right now. Just a couple spells from Bjergsen can clear out a team and allow a turret to be taken by TSM. And
Bjergsen is always been a factor, non-stop. He plays the top champions that are being banned out right now at the highest level, and you just can't get him out of the mid lane. He gets Gragas here, and that was like his 3rd choice pick after Zed and after LeBlanc.
Yeah, and 5-0-3, it has definitely been a TSM strategy to just pick on Hotshot this game.
Yeah, absolutely.
Really easy to notice. Hotshot did not deal with the Odd One and Bjergsen's gank pressure extremely well. It's obviously pretty hard. Like, Vi's ganks mid lane are extremely difficult to dodge. At that point, you have to start countering it with either counter ganks or objective control, which CLG tried to do a little bit, but because they lost push pressure in almost every lane, they just weren't able to control the map.
It was kind of an early game thought that CLG, as you said, would anticipate the counter gank all over. Link spent a lot of time hanging out in the brush this game.
Yeah, and Odd1 almost never counter ganked it. So you have to you have to give a lot of credit where credit's due to Wild Turtle and X Special for taking all of that Kha'Zix pressure and just dealing with it. Sure, X Special died a couple times to Leona ultimates, but if we look at it now, after the Dragon fight and the rest of the team coming down, it's a 4-1 Wild Turtle against a 4-2 Double Lift.
That's what worked out for him. We see Nien and Dyrus. They were in the top lane before, but they're going to meet up back in the bottom lane for a little rendezvous. Wards to be cleared out here as the Pinks trying to go down from TSM so they can just suffocate CLG right now.
And Aphromu's looking for a bit more initiation power right now, actually. He sold his Relic Shield for a Nomad's Medallion. He's going to be trying to get a Talisman of Ascension as quickly as possible. I actually don't like that move, personally, even though the Talisman active is great.
Yeah.
The stats on the item are so great for Leona's tankiness, and I think it's incredibly important for him when he's diving onto Wild Turtle that he can stay alive. Aphromu this season has had a few troubles being too squishy, especially when he's on Thresh.
Yeah.
He goes with very low health builds, and he's doing it a little bit again here. Sure, he has the Giant Spell.
Yeah, he's trying to coordinate
but he's giving out a lot of health getting rid of that Targon's Brace.
Took some time for them to get there as well, so they're always kind of waiting an extra few seconds before they can get to something. Looking at the Hex Drinker now on Link, piecing together items that'll at least keep him alive a little bit longer to maybe get some of those resets.
Yeah, that's pretty important thing for him. He still doesn't have many items, though. He never got to the point where he could get a Hydra and power clear his jungle, because now the jungle is populated by Team Solo Mid.
And you can see the population of Team Solo Mid goes along with the aggression. Bjergsen feels safe to not really build any resistances, or at least go into that Seeker's Arm Guard. He's going with Scar did last game. Full selfish damage.
I wonder if CLG is going to try and get a fight here. They have to know TSM's in here. Oh, no.
Oh, they did it again! As soon as he hit the ducky, they bring him down to knock him down to size.
Assault and battery right to a death sentence. That is really brutal punishment right there for Hotshot. He's picked on again, now 0-3. TSM's going to be putting a lot of Baron pressure on right now with a good pink ward inside.
My God, they're just forcing everything. He shifted into the barrel. That is unfortunate. And then he got eaten by a dragon. You're not getting any Dyrus' treasure. They push CLG down to the backside. This is not good for Link. Down to half HP. The Ignite's on. He is forced to get out of that with the flash hook coming from Xpecial.
TSM is just all over the map right now. Double Lift got obliterated by the Bjergsen right there. Good lord. Still no magic resist on him, obviously, because he went for those Iceborne Gauntlets, just has the armor, and this is a Baron try by TSM. Link would have to make it there real fast to try and get this steal. Not even a flash up, just used his leap.
And they didn't even have to go around. They got 4 members that can jump that wall, which may happen on the backside. Here comes the Mega Inferno. It goes to the odd one. Usually not missing his smites, and they're going to pursue here.
Usually nerves a steal on that guy, and they're just going to continue to try and push through.
Ooh, the flash. That would have been death.
Would have been real close to a death. He doesn't have to wait too long for that ultimate to come back up either. No. TSM's going to continue to clean objectives. They're in full control now, really.
Even before that Baron, they fought it outside. CLG knew they needed to get to it so much that they got fought the outside of the Baron pit. That's how much TSM has control, and they can just pretty much dictate where CLG walks right now.
And they're doing a lot of that.
Yes, they are.
Yeah.
Looks like Link is going to do what he can to push this top lane so it doesn't have to be a worry, as they are now going to have to defend either mid or bottom. It doesn't look like bottom's getting pushed out. It hasn't been TSM's focus. But they could do whatever they want right now.
They really can. I think what they should want to do most is shop. Dyrus is sitting on 3,300 gold. Bjergsen just converted 2,000 to finish off that Void Staff. And El Wild Turtle has 2,300. He's trying to save up for a last Whisper. Just finished it off. Now they've shopped. Now it's time for them to win, I think. Double Lift, going to have to be careful, actually.
Entering double lift mode, split push everything, takes down the turret. He's going to start backing off of that one. The odd one could have put a little damage down, but he would have got kited out, so he stays home.
Odd one's pretty farmed as well.
Yeah, he's big right now.
Level 14.
He's throwing some items in there.
Wins.
He got some cash.
He's got the odd Brutalizer in there. It's a very popular pickup on junglers nowadays. They have a bit of that increased gold flow, and the small amount of armor penetration actually helps drastically when you're going to assassinate carries. Not to mention just being able to gank that little bit sooner with Assault and Battery. I do think, though, that TSM's just going to go for the second wave of turrets here. They've already taken down 3. they can get 3 more quite easily. With the Baron buff, it's very difficult for CLG to defend against these. Bjergsen can take down almost whoever he wants if he gets a good burst down, which means the rest of CLG has to be extremely cautious and cannot even defend.
Oh, this is very risky and shows how powerful TSM is. To be able to siege off an Ezreal and a Ziggs, they have a bit of power approaching the turret, and it's being respected by CLG right now.
But it's also a Ziggs who is tremendously far behind. They have taken Hotshot GG completely out of this game. He is so scared with this wave clear. He's not even having the guts to put his minefield out in front of the minion waves sometimes because he's afraid that Bjergsen's going to kill him with a couple spells.
Yeah, TSM still rolls with that odd one behind the mid lane. It used to be Reginald right in his back pocket when he needed to be there for his scare, and now they're just making complete plays out of it all game. 4-1 in turrets as they pressure down mid lane onto the first inhibitor, Jat, and it looks aggressive.
Yeah, I mean, the minions are clear, but doesn't mean TSM doesn't want a bit more damage. They get almost half the turret right there. Wild Turtle took about, let's see how much, a lot of damage from the Ziggs, but he's just going to lifesteal that back up, and they're going to try and siege on the next wave.
Bottom lane isn't pushing too well, or top lane, so yeah, it looks like they're going to hover here for just a bit. They're going to steal up the resources and go back at it.
Yeah, nice blue buff take by Bjergsen there, but while they were gone, Hotshot got the minefield down. Makes this wave clear a little bit easier. I think if TSM doesn't get this on the next couple waves, they're going to move down and take down turrets 4 and 5 on the outer ring, but they're making pretty good headway right here.
Looks like that's the hook misses. The Baron is still there, and it's definitely deterring this fight. They go on to Hotshot. He's going to be the focus once again. He gets the rubber ducky this time, saves face, and he saves himself. Throws back the bombs to try and help from the back line, but it's not going to be enough. Too much tank, too much TSM.
Odd One was all on his own right there, and Wild Turtle's getting a little bit low. This could be the fight continue.
Yen throws down the ultimate. He's trying to steal those resistances. The tank to watch. They focus down onto Dyrus, and that's perfect. Dyrus is making them do it perfectly as they take down the inhibitor. There's too many things on the priority list to be focused for CLG. Link goes in, but he's hit back out, and they can't get much of anything right now.
Yeah, TSM's just playing defense right now. He plays him.
Almost gets the bite in, but the double lift barrier comes up. That barrel would have for surely killed double lift right now. Bjergsen's forced out with the rest of the team.
Yeah, 1-for-1 right there, but TSM gets what they came for. There was actually a fantastic flay in the middle of that fight that stopped Aphromu's Zenith Blade and really just turned a bit of the initiation around. But you can see the giant waves on the side. They're going to go back. Check out this flay right as Leona was trying to go in. And then Dyrus took them out as well. This is more of zone control from TSM more than in a fight. They don't have much room to try and dive in on people, so they're mainly just focusing on getting that turret. And then at this point, they're about getting out of here without losing the fight, which they did quite well.
They did lose the inhibitor, but we see that CLG can coordinate to get a few of those members down. If it happens on their terms, it might be what they need. We can see Shield charged up by Aphromu, but he does not decide to use it because right now they're blind coming out of their base. There's a lot of fog of war.
Yeah, and Hotshot's low on mana. He just used his pop. Aphromu had to ult to defend him, and I don't even know if it's going to make it. Odd One flash. They are picking on him.
Oh, he puts up the pillar, but is it going to be enough? The Zanyas goes down, and it's only a matter of time. Hotshot goes down once again, and he barely just got back off the fountain from being very low. Nien with a few more shots, and it's gonna be the pop on the passive after flashing in for the kill.
And that's the culling, doing a lot of damage from double lift in a bad spot.
Oh, we saw this with Vayne. Can you do it, double lift? He goes for one. He has the lifesteal. He can actually get two if he dodges this one out. The shift goes to the left. It's gonna be the punch coming in from Vi. She'll ask questions later.
First miss actually there from Bjergsen. He whiffed his ultimate on double lift. That would have made it a very much easier fight for TSM.
Yeah.
Double lift trying to make plays on his own, but that is not enough right now. 11,000 gold, another turret goes down.
59.1 to 47.1. The gold lead has just not astronomical, but TSM has found a way to invest that and get the return back at the same time. The 7th turret to go down here, they're not even scared of the Mega Inferno bombs.
Yeah, they still have their 80 carry up right now, whole bunch of damage. No 80 carry up on the other side. Can they get that inhibitor? They actually don't.
Aphromu goes all the way in with Link. Actually, very nice coordination on getting a kill in. Bjergsen and Wild Turtle, those are the damage dealers. And the DPS out of the fight, they find the kills they need.
All right. TSM definitely overstayed their welcome.
Yes.
It was a good defense by CLG in that sense, but there's no way they're out of the woods. Still very clear that Bjergsen is a death machine. Finishing a Deathfire Grasp. It's actually really, really difficult to pull off a DFG combo on Gragas because he's generally spiking people from super long range.
Yeah.
and you'd have to catch someone in a fog of war to DFG them and then burst them down. He absolutely could, but it's an interesting item choice in that case. It really tells me he's trying so hard to just... I think he's actually not taking it too seriously, because if he had a Zhonya's Hourglass, that is by far the better build here.
Yeah.
But the DFG will provide a little bit more damage. They got to make it to this Baron buff quickly, because Kha'Zix eats this thing super fast.
They are going to have more than enough time to get there. It's already going to be the odd one.
This
Just
is real.
the odd one's in base, actually. He's under the coin of Wild Turtle. I didn't see him. This should be pretty easy for Link to get down.
Got it.
That smite hits. The Baron ult. Oh my god, the Gragas ult almost wipes everybody in the Baron pit. Link tries to limp back into the fight. Dyrus is doing what he can. A 4v1 situation before he Dragons descends out of the fight. And look at Link, double lift, Aframu, running for their lives. Nian can't quite get away. He tries to kite it out, but it's not going to be enough. Trundle goes down. It's 50 seconds on these death chambers, and it's going to be a big push for TSM.
Hey, as far as stalling, though, that move is great by CLG. You could see TSM was sloppy in their rotation. They overstayed their welcome previously, and they didn't expect CLG to take that Baron so decisively.
Yeah.
But because they got 2 kills, they're going to need to get these inhibitors on recycle so the Super Minions can continue to push in CLG. Otherwise, CLG would be able to come back a bit.
And it's going to be tough. We look at the other side of the map, and it's only that bottom turret that Double Lift dropped some 10 minutes ago that they have. So potentially, all that gold is there, but it's going to take a while to get, Jat.
All right, so now there will be 2 waves of Super Minions coming into CLG's base. If TSM can't push in more, CLG will continue to gain gold. They are down about 10,500 right now. The game was pretty much out of reach until TSM turned those kills around at their second inhibitor, and then more importantly got the Baron afterwards. There's actually still a chance that CLG turns it around only because of that Baron buff that they just got.
TSM really has to walk themselves into this one, though. They're going to play it with hard hats on, of course, coming in on this. Everybody's got about 1,600 to spend, but that might even not be able to be spent with inventories all the way full of recipes. So they're holding on to gold until it's a core item.
So TSM is right here to not give CLG any breathing room. While there are 2 waves of Super Minions, is the time that TSM wants to take down this 3rd inhibitor turret. If CLG can land a really good pillar and a great Leona ult on a priority target like Bjergsen, who does not have a Zhonya's to stop it, I think that's their window to getting back in this game. Short of doing that, I think the Super Minions push through to CLG's base. TSM sieges this down appropriately. They got 3 inhibitors, and they end the game soon.
Hotshot with a little bit better wave clear now. We're still waiting for him to actually approach 18. He's 2 levels behind Bjergsen. So there is a bit of damage we're not seeing from them yet, but it may be too little too late.
Yeah. It's interesting, too, that Double Lift is going for kind of the Iceborne Gauntlet Ezreal, but without the Tear of the Goddess or the Merman. So it actually gets him the slow point, and he's still pretty strong at this point, just almost less damage than the old one. Here comes the turret siege from TSM. And maybe an initiation from CLG.
Dyrus kind of taunting him out there. The Sunfire Cape aggroed the turret, and that's enough for CLG to want the fight. And don't know if they want it fully, though. Bjergsen's on the backside waiting to really initiate. The ult is up, and it looks like they're actually trying to get CLG out of the base before this.
Yeah, CLG could not lock onto Bjergsen, so they had to get out of that fight. Now the question is, have they overstayed? They have to heal, and the Super Minions are killing their Nexus.
Going so hard. The Nexus turret goes down on the first side. They're going to have to peel people off for this, and Hotshot goes down in the blink of an eye. Jat, this looks like it could be the end.
It looks really bad for CLG right now. Link flashes in for support. Here comes TSM.
The shutdown going over to the odd one, gets him his 2nd kill of the game. Turtle's up in the front doing what he can with a Riot Shield in front of him. The Guardian Angel, they can't get through that even, and it looks like the Nexus turret's gonna go down. The Nexus will fall, and TSM takes the head-to-head versus CLG.
Game 1 of 2014 season goes to TSM and Bjergsen right there. 9-2-7 on Gragas. Turtle was 9-2-6 on Lucian. The whole team contributed. 13 assists by the odd one. They just picked on Hotshot GG that entire game. Hotshot died 6 times, did not pick up a kill. TSM synergy coming in strong as they defeat their old rivals.
The bro life happening between Bjergsen and Dyrus there. Very well played. Great synergy throughout the team. And like I said, Bjergsen's so hard to ban out. He got Gragas after being banned out on 2 other champions, and he was like, thanks for one of my top tiers, guys.
But let's focus on this, actually.
For sure. Let's.
As TSM gets an applause walking across the stage. Bjergsen was only successful because Odd1 ganked for him so much.
Yeah.
He didn't actually get solo kills on Hotshot GG. Everything was a gank from the Odd1. And that also means for the rest of TSM, they weren't getting ganks.
Right.
They had to do all that on their own. We can think back to XTG. I remember the feature they did earlier on, and Benny was saying how Zuna or Xsmithy just did nothing but gank for ManCloud last year.
Yeah.
Right? But ManCloud was the highest killer in the history of the LCS. Like, that formula was working.
Yep.
It hasn't worked so far. So in this season, now that they've lost that mid synergy. So the mid synergy for TSM, exceptionally important. I think Bjergsen with the Odd1 in the short time they've had together, especially picking on who is, even though an experienced player, an inexperienced mid laner in Hotshot GG, was a great game plan.
In those first 3 picks in Champion Select, I was kind of like, that's a little too much for Team Solo Mid. I said they'd almost won Champion Select there.
Their very start of it was incredibly strong.
Yeah.
You could see they had the mid lane.
Shavana Vi Gragas.
Let's
You're
go
like,
pick
hey,
on someone.
We're good.
Go in for exactly what they want. CLG had a couple small windows to come back in the game, but when they couldn't contest that one dragon around the mid game, and they lost the 3 deaths on a failed engage, and the even tinier window at the end once they got Baron. Other than that, it was all TSM.
Their rotations, it's something they didn't focus on as much this game. They kind of left it up to Link to hang out in a lane.
Yeah.
And we saw, with all that aggression, we kind of questioned why Link wasn't going mid. Maybe it was kind of a lost thing, because that's what TSM does. If a lane loses, they're going to feed the other lanes.
Yeah, he wasn't capable of ganking Gragas. I think Bjergsen was
Just
too
got to that
powerful in that lane. The rest of the CLG lanes, there's not much you can rotate to if Siobhan is at your turret, if the bottom lane is at the turret, and if your mid lane is dead. Nothing is working across the map, and they could never set anything up.
We see all these different champions coming in. I figured Nien may have brought something different to the table, more of a playmaker, because he's actually able to do that. Trundle's kind of the thing that sits in lane, and kind of like Dyrus has been playing on that Shyvana. He used to be Jace. We used to say Dyrus carrying with the hammer, right?
Yeah.
But it's switched up quite a bit, and they're focusing just Bjergsen now.
At least in this game, because they wanted to stop Hotshot GG. Last week, definitely a little bit. Dyrus is that consistent rock in the top lane who they could rely on.
Slippery, safe,
There's a
consistent.
few games, Shyvana, he farmed like 350 CS, was involved in like 1 kill and an assist, whereas Bjergsen was in 10. That strategy works. I think it's a similar strategy that XDG, when they were Vulcan last year, took. Psycho Sid was almost never involved, but always impactful to the game. And ManCloud roamed around and make a lot of plays. A mid-focus style of game can absolutely work. SK Telecom did it a lot before the rest of their team ramped up and became superstars in their own right. It's a very successful strategy in this game.
So how do we feel? Obviously, it can work. It hasn't twice. How do you feel about the Ezreal pick? Trying to go blue build right now in League.
Yeah, it's kind of a double list special. And he's now 0-2 when he builds Iceborne Gauntlets in game.
Yeah.
I feel like it's an okay choice. Doublelift has not had a very good start to the 2014 season.
Right.
He had so many impressive plays in Season 3. And right now, I just don't think it fits, especially against a Bjergsen who is incredibly far ahead. It used to be I liked the Iceborne Gauntlets against bruiser-heavy teams because not only could it kite the team, it could also provide you resiliency in case you did get closed on. Yeah. But now when Doublelift got closed on, Bjergsen blew him up.
Well, even talking about Wild Turtle, he had pretty much an exceptional game himself fighting in that bottom lane. We actually have a replay here we're going to pull up of him taking down Nien in the base. It just goes to show how strong these guys were.
Yeah, I mean, we can really just see how they went all out for Hotshot GG. That's the big thing that they did here. Everything was trapped. And then, obviously, Wild Turtle on the bottom. This is a Randwin's Omen, Nien. And because Wild Turtle hit aside from that one, every shot of the culling, flash forward for the double shot, and his Q right there. It was a very farmed Wild Turtle, despite having to lane against Doublelift. And that's one thing that Doublelift and Aphromoo haven't been able to do this year, is even though they can get farmed themselves, they have not shut down enemy AD carries whatsoever.
And something we also saw is just how confident they were in all those pushes. That side of the map was entirely warded. He dove and then kept flashing into the base, into CLG's base. That means you guys are ready to just win the game. They had such a lead in that, and it's not something CLG even expected, I think, to have to deal with that game.
Yeah, that was a rough one. 38 minutes, 23 kills to 12. You got to say round 1 goes to TSM.
Yeah, it's going to be coming up again. We'll get to see this one. It's never just one. After an incredible day of action, though, we can see some teams starting to pull away in the standings. Let's take a look at those. In the first place, it's TSM, led by the Monarch of Mayhem, Burger King. Then in second place, it's Cloud9, who didn't play today, but will be back in action tomorrow.
Yeah, and Dignitas has climbed their way up to third place with 4 straight wins. Then we have Curse sitting in fourth after a rematch win over Coast.
And sharing fifth, it's CLG and Team Coast, and tied in seventh again today is Evil Geniuses and XDG. And we will be back tomorrow with 4 more games for your viewing pleasure. It all gets underway with XDG versus Evil Geniuses.
And after that, Coast will take on TSM. Then we'll see if Cloud9's got their mojo back when they take on Curse.
And finally, Dignitas faces off against CLG. The action gets underway Sunday at 12 Pacific, 9 p.m. Central European Time. So don't miss it. And before we toss it over to the NA Challenger Series, we want to remind everyone to head over to lolesports.com.
There you can find in-depth interviews, stats on your favorite teams and players, and all the classic matchups that you want to watch again. LOL Esports, it's the guide to the LCS.
Absolutely. You can also join us for one of our live game day tapings. Click on tickets link for details and start planning your visit now. All right, that's going to do it for us here, but we're going to send it over to Kobe and Freak for the NA Challenger Series.
Welcome to the 2014 North American Challenger Series, brought to you in part by our friends at Coca-Cola. I'm David Freak Turley alongside Sam Kobe Hartman-Kensler, and it's been a great day, League, so far. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm excited. Challenger, finally. Let's get this going.
Get it going on, guys. It's going to be a whole bunch of fun. Coming up tonight on the North American Challenger Series, we have our first quarterfinal matchup, Cloud9 Tempest versus Skyline.
So tonight's series is a best-of-3 contest, with the victors advancing to the semifinals, where they're going to face off against the winners of tomorrow night's match between YSO Esports and the Chinese hype train, LMQ, that everybody wants to watch.
Whole bunch of fun games coming up. And because seeing is believing, let's take a look at the North American Challenger Series bracket. As we just discussed, the top half of the bracket consists of tonight's match, Cloud9 Tempest versus Skyline, and tomorrow's best-of-3, YSO Esports versus LMQ.
And in the bottom half of the bracket, it's the second-seeded Determined Gaming facing off against Curse Academy next Saturday, February 1st, followed by Cognitive Gaming taking on VVV Gaming White on Sunday, February 2nd.
And while the winners of our 4 quarterfinals move on to the semis, the participants that leave won't leave empty-handed. The 4 teams that come up short still earn cash Challenger Series points and still get another chance making it into the LCS in the second Spring Challenger Series that kicks off in about a month's time.
So for all the Challenger details, head over to lolesports.com, pull down the menu under Leagues and Tournaments, and click on the North American Challenger Series.
And so now let's get to tonight's match, Game 1 of this best-of-3 between Cloud9 Tempest and Skyline. Now, for those of you still leveling up your Challenger League knowledge, Cloud9 Tempest is it's a new name. They were formerly the Walking Zed during the promo tournament just a few months ago. That was the team that took Coast to 5 games in that spring promo tournament.
Yeah, strong showing there. I expect a strong showing in the Challenger League as well. Because Cloud9 Tempest competed in the spring promotion tournament, they automatically earned this spot in the quarterfinals.
Yeah. Guys are pretty strong overall. So, of course, this series against Coast was pretty crazy. Their 3 losses, Cloud9 went 4-47-8. They only got 4 kills in the 3 games they lost. When they lose hard. But the 2 wins looked a little bit better. So, you know, a little bit inconsistent, but at least was able to pull out a couple of victories there.
Yeah, I mean, taking it to 5 games, nothing to sneeze at. And they also switched up some players, you know.
Yeah.
It was the bottom lane, definitely giving them some problems. So they brought in Altec, excuse me. He's a guy who is very young, so he's a lot like Pobelter in that way. Those guys are actually really good friends, and he's bounced around Challenger a lot. He's replacing Bobby Hank Hill as the AD carry, and he's also a former member of Curse Academy. So we expect big things from Altec in the bottom lane. Joining him in the bottom lane will be Glebe Glarbu. You know, he played for Napkins in Disguise for a little bit, and he's a very strong Thresh player, I'm told.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun duo lane overall, and of course tonight Tempest and their new bot lane take to the Rift to face Skyline. Now, this team has already pulled off 2 big upsets on their wins in their way to the quarterfinal here.
Yeah, so the first team that Skyline knocked out was Lol Pro, which is Jackie's team, the former Curse mid-laner.
Mid-laner.
Well, they're out of the tournament now, so
pretty lame.
Then they did end up beating the 5th-seeded TNT Gaming, or Tint Gaming, in their second game last week, going 17-5-59. That's a pretty good score.
Yeah.
Then the 2 former Velocity members, NK Inc. and Evaniscus, stepped up really big in that win. The jungler, NK Inc., who participated in all 17 kills, and their support, Evaniscus, wrapped up 15 assists.
Yeah, so good play from these guys. But even with 2 former pros on the team, the guy who stood tall for Skyline in their Challenger Series game so far is actually their mid laner, a new guy, Golden Glue.
as you would say, Freak. He was the glue that held their team together. He's another guy who's bounced around Challenger a lot. So he's a very high mechanical skill mid laner, and we'll have to see, how he can go up against, what's his name? Bishu, because Bishu's famous.
Yes.
But he played Kha'Zix in both of his games, going 9-2-6 versus Jackie, and then his performance was even better the next game, 8-0-6 versus Tint Gaming.
Yeah, so a bunch of really strong players right here. It's going to be a fun one. Champ Select about to get underway for us here. And it's interesting because you feel like Tempest is coming through as like the clear favorite, right? You got a lot more well-known names in there. Bishu, last I checked, had like the least number of losses in Challenger solo queue. And it's like that guy's got a big hype train on his own. So it's going to be a fun one to watch what happens in this. But at the same time, you still got to figure, right, the guys from Skyline, right? Guys played in the LCS, has that experience, has that pressure experience. They're going to put on a good show too.
Yeah, speaking of NK on Skyline, he is a very versatile jungler. A guy I really like because he run Master Yi with teleport in the jungle for a long time. He'll be one of those guys who can just farm up really hard and then come out with a carry, or he can just gank constantly. He's very, very flexible champion pool as well.
Yeah, it's awesome. And really kind of speaking of flexible champion pools, the top laner for Skyline's been playing Rumble a whole bunch. And it's been fun to see because we just keep seeing these big three, right? It's like the Renekton, the Shyvana, the Mundo.
Warwick, and the Trundle.
Sorry, yeah. So that's becoming 5 now with Warwick and Trundle showing up a little bit more. But then you've got a champion that I thought would have actually done really badly against the typical bruiser top lanes like Rumble, showing incredibly strongly right now, and it's fun to see the guys who pull out something completely different and say, no, this is what works for me.
Yeah, and since the team is actually now under the Cloud9 tag there, the people that they're playing against, it'd be funny to see Rumble used against Cloud9 for once instead of Cloud9 using Rumble. Oh, another thing, though, since they're switched their name to Cloud9, Yuzuki, the top laner that he'll be playing against.
He's back on Cloud9!
He's back on Cloud9 because he originally started on the original Cloud9 team that did not make it into the LCS.
Yeah, failed their spring promos for Season 3, but of course the revamp roster for C9, we've seen them do a very good job here. And
it's a pretty good organization.
Yeah, they've picked up...
Pretty successful.
I gotta say, their LCS team is incredibly strong. They picked up a top EU Challenger team, a top NA Challenger team, kind of diversifying the pool out there. And I always like organizations that pick up multiple teams. In Korea, that's really common, right? You've got Frost and Blaze, you've got Bullets and Arrows, you got Sword and Shield, right? There's so many sister organizations there.
And they've all worked out.
Yeah.
So diversify your teams.
Get some extra teams out there. And and the thing is, you think about it, right? And even within this, you've got Altec, actually, who is a sub for TSM right now. He's on the roster. Couldn't play in the LCS because he's 16, but at the same time, you've got, again, more teams like TSM who have a bunch of players that they can practice against or scrim against if they have teams that they know well. And again, just more ways to practice and whatnot, I think, is incredibly useful for these guys.
And since, like I said, Altec, he's been in the scene for so long, but since he was so young, he couldn't really be on one of those teams, and he didn't get that famous. But he knows all of the top-tier guys, so it's very easy for him to call up, Pupelta or whatever. They can practice against LCS teams. EG, they would be happy to scrim against them, so...
Yeah, that's pretty awesome for these guys. And, of course, you kind of think about the age, right? And he's a year away. Right, Pupelta finally old enough to be on the LCS.
So close.
We talked about him for like all of 2012 and 2013, and now he's there. Altec, if he makes this right, he's old enough to play for season 2015. I don't actually know his birthday, but maybe even the summer split, depending on the timing there. So these guys are like ready to go, like rearing up for their pro careers.
Speaking of ready to go,
right? So are we.
Perfect. We'll jump into Champion Select here. Kale, off the bat, I was already talking about him a little bit in the LCS game. So strong right now in this state of the game. Because of the hybrid nature of the champion and the fact that you can go deep into that offensive tree, very, very highly prized mid lane pick at the moment.
Well, speaking of highly prized mid lane picks, 3 mid lane bans so far. Golden Glue's most played on live is Kale. His Kha'Zix, of course, played in the promo game so far. We're moving that away, getting rid of probably the highest impact player so far from Skyline. There's the Thresh removed from Glarbrew. We'll see what he goes for afterwards. The Ziggs still gone from Bishu. I mean, his Nidalee still there so far. We'll see what else he runs for. So we got 4 of a band.
He is pretty famous for his Nidalee, but Nidalee, like, we've seen some trouble with a lot of the teams that have been running Nidalee and not really getting to the point where they can siege up and make effective use of her poke. A lot of the all-in mid laners, like the Assassins and stuff, have sort of been outshining her.
Well, we'll see what they go with this one right there. Kassadin dropped away as well, so 4 total mid lane bans. Gonna stretch the pools a little bit of Golden Glue and Bishu. We'll see what they run for. The Elise dropped away, no first pick. Well, lower chance of first pick jungler, I suppose, for Tempest. And it's gonna be, looks like the Gragas hover here. And I want to see if this is locked in, where it actually goes. I know Jat talked about support Gragas being a thing. I know NK Ink's been playing jungle Gragas. Of course, Bishu was a very good mid lane one.
Yeah, it's one of the safest first picks because you can put it so many places. So really like that as the opener. Meanwhile, this is a very strong combination here. Guaranteed engage in 2 forms. Very long range engage from Leona. And then Vi, the single target, is really strong for also ganking mid lane. So if they have a problem with Gragas, then he can pay some extra special attention to that area.
Oh, we saw that work really well for TSM, actually, where Odd One really helped Bjergsen, and Bjergsen kind of took over that game.
Hotshot got the extra special attention this time around.
Unfortunately, it was GG for Hotshot in that one. So those 2 champions picked up. Cloud9 Tempest picking up the Olaf again. And the funny thing is about this match is when Walking Zed played Coast, Olaf went undefeated in that series. And so C9 gonna hope to push that forward. Top lane Renekton, also the blind pick here. These guys are kind of picking pretty quick so far in this series.
Hovering over the Sivir, that would be a nice takeaway because it works so well with Olaf, giving him just another guaranteed speed boost so that he can get to your back line. I do like the combo. And with the resurgence of Shen, there have been a lot of people talking about how Shen being picked after Renekton. So with the nerfs to Shyvana and the movement away from, trying to deal with Renekton in the early game, end game answers for Renekton, like Trundle, like Shen. You have global pressure there.
Oh, it's going to be a fun one to watch for. Skyline looking still to pick these champions, and right now this comp is just going to zerg at you. It's a bunch of hard engage, and then Server's like, all right, everyone else, go! And I feel like people are going to die when that happens. You press R a bunch and someone drops.
I do also like the early bottom lane potential that you have with a Vi and a Shen.
Oh man,
like that's just brutal. The other bottom lane pretty much has to play defensively in that situation because even if they call their jungler over, they're going to be outnumbered.
Yeah, well, right there. Speaking of trying to get outnumbered, Annie at least can bring a bear into that fight. Maybe a little bit helpful, but a very long-ranged lane. I think literally the longest range lane you could possibly pick up in League of Legends. 650 Caitlyn, 625 Annie. At least they can play far enough back to maybe not get caught out here.
If you're going to stand back, that's going to be 2 champions that will make it very easy for you. Meanwhile, the rest of the 2 other picks there is obviously Dive Buddies. So this is really a very brawly team over here for Tempest. Looks like it's going to be a very strong dragon fighting team. So the early dragons expect to be a hot point of contention. Meanwhile, SKL over here on this side are going to have, like we said, the split pushing Shen. Nidalee in the mid lane, if you end up locking that in, it doesn't provide a lot of control early. She's basically just someone that's hard to push out of lane, but she can't do that much for you. She's just kind of waiting till later.
No, instead they're going to go, no, not so much, but they're going to look at an Akali right now. That's interesting because I was wondering how it would stretch Golden Glue's champion pool because his top 4 most played on live. Kayle, banned. Kha'Zix, banned. Gragas, stolen away his first pick. Yasuo banned for the tournament, so he's like, okay, well, let me just throw out the sleeper Akali that unless you know Golden Glue, I guess it's Jesse. They're maybe going to lane swap it here, but certainly not the comp I was expecting to see here.
Yeah, they got a few more seconds to pull the switching around, so they can still play mind games if they so choose. It's looking like a really nice combo, though. The double assassin combos, or double ninja combos, when you have Akali jumping in with the Shen shield to back her up. She has so much spell vamp and lifesteal that even if she takes the hit early, the Shen shield should enable her to live long enough to leech back up all the life that she needs.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun one. Just so much hard engage here. I like teams like that.
Both of the teams are just...
They really want to fight each other. At least Gragas can knock people back, but the amount of engage just makes for like really fun explosive fights. I still like Curse's comp from last week, where it was like Jungle Pantheon, mid Akali, top lane card. This was like, people are going to die.
Hopefully it's the other guys.
Hopefully it's the other guys. Yeah, it was actually unfortunate. I didn't get the answer out on air, but I was talking to them about their comps, and Voice said, well, yeah, Death is the best CC. And as long as we kill them first, we're going to be okay. It worked out for these guys. We'll see if it works out here for Skyline, but some really fun teams out here for these guys.
All right, so no item spot from Sivir there. Having a problem connecting up. There we go. She's ready to roll. Doran's blade as usual. And 3 shields coming out. So Annie starting off with the ring. It's going to be a little bit more aggressive. Leona definitely does have the potential for the early all-in. We'll have to see which of those dual lanes can shove the first creep wave early and rush level 2.
See what they do with this one. Doran's shield, the start. So I actually like that Afro almost always goes for Relic Shield, because then it guarantees that level 2 push a little bit sooner. But instead of the double Doran's opening, that doesn't really happen here. I do want to see how they end up playing this, though, but with their basic auto attacks. Usually in LCS, we tend to see the junglers start top lane, then get help from over there. These guys don't care nearly as much who hits level 2. So I'm curious to see how the teams adapt to this. Right now, the junglers are staying on that side. They're just kind of waiting. It's one of those holding pattern level 1s.
I mean, if these dual lanes are left to their own devices down there, I expect the early advantage to be in this Caitlyn Annie lane, just because huge range advantage. Even Sivir is like a terrible range for an AD carry, so it's a very short range here for the Sivir and Leona, and really, they just rely on actually popping a kill. So if they don't get an early level 2, and they get poked down and harassed early, then they'll be on the back foot for the better part of the game until they get jungle support.
Yeah, now that you mention it, Skyline picked their entire bottom lane before Cloud9 Tempest picked a single champion. So C9T had the entire, across the champ select to say, okay, this is the entire kind of we're going to go for. Completely melee support, has to get in the melee range to all in. Sivir, lowest basic attack range of any AD carry, and they picked this really long-range harass team.
Yeah.
I feel like C9T should win that.
And as expected, they're starting out in the lane and immediately auto-attacking down the wave as quickly as possible. Caitlyn lanes always really like to build up those big range minion advantages, and just like that, a little bit of harass, they automatically have established themselves as the alpha bottom lane here.
And speaking of crazy things going on, actually, Glebe started actually with the Q on Annie. Such a rare thing to see, but is using it to actually deal more harass damage with his auto attacks. That's interesting to see.
Yeah, so the drawback is you don't get to charge your stun up before getting to lane, but the harass damage doing even more than the stun right here. Like we said, they've already established and shoved this SKL duo off of the wave.
Well, there we go. Level 2, 8 minions to 0 right there. Altec going to miss a total of 1 CS. We'll see what happens to the AD carries. Yeah, how dare you miss 2, or miss 1 total. 11 to 0. Now up to the turret. We'll see if Skyline misses much. Ward goes down on the river, so it looks like Cloud9 Tip is going to be safe here as well. And their other trinket will be up in time by the time the one in the river expires.
Yeah, meanwhile, top, the old Renekton not having any trouble with Shen over here. 13 to 5, and he's also built up his Fury stack, so whenever he's got that full red bar, Shen really has to worry about the trades.
And thinking about trades as well, look at this mid lane, because Golden Glue is actually completely holding on, actually excelling against Bishu. More minions killed overall, more minions left to farm in the lane, and is pushing Bishu back. Looks like this Akali pick completely working out in the very early game.
Yeah, he's definitely doing a good job. He's got, a potion left still, too, so he hasn't even had to use any of his sustain, which Akali usually, as Voyboy puts it, is sort of a tadpole early, and he has to wait and farm up until he hits level 6 before he can make a lot of moves. But, man, is Golden Glue really just crushing.
18 to 10, very well played right here. We look still at the bottom lane to an early 10 minion lead. Altec and Glebe, however, looking good with the dive on in. Glebe down to half HP, forced back with the shield, but here comes the jungler Kez. Jumps onto Evidence, gets forced to jump backwards. Can he get away? Another axe lands. That's going to be first blood picked up by the Annie. Probably not ideal, but still 600 gold going to Cloud9 Tempest.
Yeah, nice little gank right there. Draws them in right when Olaf's in the area. Ghost is one of the common summoners for Olaf jungles, but since you don't see it a lot, you're not used to the lane ganks from Ghost. It's really, really strong.
NK finding a bit of damage into Bishu, the shield from his passive, tanking the turret shot as he walks out, but Bishu really being pushed around, down 8 minions still. Golden Glue still looking for the harass there. I do really like this lane, but of course we've seen the bottom lane right now carrying for Cloud9 Tempest. So it's just a good start, and this turret also starting to take some damage early on.
All right, so if you're looking at this game from Cloud9's point of view, all of your lanes are winning. These are all early shoving lanes, except for Bishu in the middle. So the jungler gets to choose. Where else am I going to apply my pressure? I can go down to bottom lane and counter gank, which worked out, or we can try and invade jungle from now on, because Olaf is really strong in the jungle early. And if Vi does not hit a Vault Breaker, then she's going to get bullied out.
So you think Olaf's probably going to win the duels if all things are equal?
Yes.
Okay, that's one thing to watch for. If we see it right now, NK still trying to catch up right there. Hasn't gone back to buy just yet, whereas Kez already with boots and a Spirit Stone going to help him just that little bit more as we go through this one. We've watched the bottom lane for a bit. These guys seem content to back up a little bit from each other and give Caitlyn the room she needs. The top lane is one that we haven't seen very much of, though. Yasuke off to a very small early lead. And, you know, you pick up Renekton for the early bullying, but not a ton happening yet here.
Yeah, Shen caught right back up there. He must have had a pretty good minion wave built up. And I guess it bodes well for conventional wisdom. A lot of people were saying Shen, the new sort of counter pick to Renekton. And Vi heading up top might even be able to get a kill on them. That would put him even ahead of Renekton.
Well, NK's going to look for it. Stun's not going to land on anyone right there. Yasuke forced to try to run away. He's going to get out of this one. But it does at least force, you know, Slice and Dice on cooldown.
Yeah, he barely misses that Ball Breaker. Almost able to get in range. Whenever you do gank a Renekton from the river, you always want to come at him from the side, so his Slice and Dice isn't going to be aimed back towards his turret already and give him a little bit of extra distance. But a very good job of Yuzuki right there, keeping his cool, avoiding the damage from Vault Breaker, and then getting the double Slice and Dice.
All right, good job to him, but speaking of good jobs, it's really got to be Golden Glue still for me, the saving grace here for Skyline. Because he's up 50. He's like, I could have sworn Bijou was like, oh yeah, he's going to crush this lane. It's Bijou, he's great, but really great to Golden Glue. There's the early Dragon attempt though by Cloud9 Tempest. They've got a bunch of people here first, but it looks like Skyline might try to defend this one. You're seeing C9T forced backwards. The catch a little bit there for Evanescence, but gets fired back on down to half health. And Skyline going to sweep away a ward, but they do stop the Dragon.
Yeah, able to stop the Dragon, and if their jungler, if NK had been on his way down towards the Dragon, then they could have even finished it off, because it was nice and soft right there, but without a smite, way too risky, and they just return to their lanes. This is something that happens when you do have a mid lane that gets that much control, and now the Tadpole has got her jumps, she's evolved into the frog, and she's ready to go for kills.
Evolved into the frog, here we go. Golden Glue growing up in this game. Still, both these mid laners have gone back to buy Chalice versus Hextech Gunblade. Revolver, here we go. So, more spell vamp. NK still looking mid. Goes for the ulti onto Bijou. Does she have the damage here from Vi? Kez is coming around. Great ulti. NK, good flash across the wall, but still getting chased down by Bijou. Forces Shen ulti. Golden Glue now on the run as well. Axe not going to do much. She'll would have timed that anyway, but a lot burned everywhere for these guys.
NK is paying a pretty good amount of attention towards that mid lane, so that's probably contributing to Bijou's little bit more defensive play. But they were able to counter gank this time around. Kez in the right spot, right time. They also got his flash down.
And Jesse, I want to point out, actually managed to... I don't play Shen myself, so I don't know how it's done, but I know a lot of top players can do this. Cancels his own Stand United, doesn't show up. Was nowhere near Renekton, definitely was not getting stun out of it. Knew how to cancel his own teleport.
So, I think it's kind of a bug, but... Oh, the stun combo is enough.
Not good for impactful. Spell Shield wore out before he could actually step on the trap. Flash in from Glarbu.
The barrier.
Great barrier. Can he wait it out? No, he can't stun on top of the turret. That was a close one right there. A blunder, but then he kind of caught up for it.
So the Shen thing... Oh, wow, never mind. We got a pretty strong Akali headed down here to try and clean up.
Level 7, looking for Glarber here. No flash on Annie. Does have her stun back available. Flash in from Evanescence, stuns up Altec. There's the dive on in, but Golden Glue gets stunned under the turret right there. Evanescence takes another turret shot to let Golden Glue out, but that dive does not work.
Yeah, you can see as soon as Annie popped her shield and you could see the stun proc come up, Golden Glue did not want to dive for that, but Evanescence already going forward, and they take a lot of turret harassment, so it's going to be another shoved lane here.
Yeah, they do get rid of both of Altec's summoners, but they carried the Ignite and some time out of that mid lane here. Golden Glue still looking for bottom lane. That's not going to get pushed in, though, so nothing happening here aside from wave clear. Skyline going to hold on still a little bit longer. A 1,000 gold game in front of us just from one champion kill. So the laning on aggregate working better for Cloud9 Tempest. That gold lead is stretching.
Yeah, so they had 2 lanes that won compared to just the mid that's behind here for Bijou. So they definitely get a nice chunk of gold minion lead from the CS, and now the turret damage is actually going to be a pretty big factor.
Seeing it down to half HP right there. BF stored on Altec, a very happy thing, thanks to the first blood assist gold. Worth 100 for him, shared it with the teammate. Golden Glue actually stuck down in the bottom lane for 3 waves now, 2 or 3. Also walks by a ward on his way back to mid. So a bit of a minion lead lost there as Akali was just camping to keep his lane alive.
Yeah, he's roaming around to try and save the other lanes here. Because both the top and bottom were losing, he knew that the gold deficit was going to slowly increase for his team. And he was trying to make a play happen, pick up some kind of kill down there to turn around the bottom lane. But because he was unsuccessful, it just really helped Bishu get back into the game.
Speaking of Bishu getting into the game, goes for the top lane here. Shen stunned up against the wall. Here we go. Bishu going to land the bottom slam. Lands the ulti as well. Taunt comes across. So there's the ultimate, the ignite as well. Jesse trying to stay alive. He doesn't get forced backwards, but that's a body slam kill. Bishu, 330 gold because of the minion nearby. Nice pickup by C9T.
And all that's left for Golden Glue is another attempted roam down bottom here. You know, he was able to shove one wave while Bishu left, but that's about it. With this time, NK rotating down towards Dragon, it looks like it'll be uncontested.
This could be very well worth it. Kez is nearby, but not with Flash. I don't think he'll get here in time. That's going to be the Dragon picked up. Red team has slain it. Ancient Golem already done here for NK Inc., despite not having much to do in this game. But that's going to be something nice. Only 600 gold now separating the teams.
Yeah, good call there for SKL. Deciding to rotate down since they saw 2 members, both solo laners up top. Even though there's a possibility of a smite contest, it's Olaf who does not have flash or any jumps. So he would have to walk around and put himself in danger if he wanted to attempt something there.
Didn't want to go for it. Level 7 would have Ragnarok, but still nothing doing for him. Golden Glue sweeping away the mid lane. 20 CS up as Bishu comes back in. He's not wearing a blue buff. Wait, no, this is the wrong time. Blue buff wouldn't be up just yet. I got really confused for a second.
Yeah, it timed out. He used it to roam up quicker up top, though.
Yeah.
So he got some use out of it.
Okay, Blue's coming up in about a minute and a half or so, I think, for the Cloud9 Tempest team. We look down to the bottom lane again, and let's see where these guys go with this one. And then still sweeping. These guys actually in a bit of a lull, but I'm waiting for the junglers to make plays. Vi ulti is back up.
Yeah, I would actually expect C9 to start actually finishing these turrets off since both the top and bottom are low. If they chain those 2 turret kills, then they can both focus mid and rotate over to save the losing lane. They keep getting checked here, though, because the roaming Akali is very dangerous.
Well, that's going to be turret going down right there. Golden Glue lurking around the sides. Bishu coming by. Did not walk through any wards that I saw, but Golden Glue got spotted. And these guys going to be just going back with just the turret going down and no action.
Yeah, so C9 should probably just shove another wave to get that pushed all the way up into SKL's secondary turret, and then they can send their super long-range duo to the mid lane. If they show up mid, then the 3-man plus Gragas there is going to be more than enough to force Akali off of her turret and stop Golden Glue's farm that he's been able to accrue so far.
We'll see what these guys can do with this one then. If they can pressure these turrets down. Skyline kind of on the back foot. Haven't had any games work for them. It's just been the Dragon pressure that's kept them in this game so far. The lane's just pretty much great for Cloud9 Temps, but definitely a very close game so far. Couldn't call a winner for sure. Guys looking to try to build their advantages, but none have found any big ones yet.
Yeah, so since the Cloud9 duo actually slow pushed the bottom, it was SKL who rotated first because they were expecting Kate Annie to show up in the mid lane and they wanted to go defend it. But since they're the ones with all the short-range heroes here, they weren't able to get anything done, and it's a little bit of sort of wasted time here for them as they stand and mill about in the mid.
That's a good point. There's really not any good turret sieging by the Skyline lineup, and they're fighting a Gragas not to mention, so that'll be fun as that plays out over the time. They certainly haven't found any catches yet. The NK ganks haven't worked either. Flash and Vault Breaker up, though. Of course, Q's up, but Assault and Battery also up. And still not seeing a lot from him. I'm a little bit surprised by that.
Yeah, so here comes in the rotation I was expecting. They should be able to get a lot of poke down while simultaneously taking the turret. Because that large minion wave that the duo lane from C9 created bottom was not dealt with, it means that they don't even have the assassin, their strong person on their team, Golden Glue, at the mid lane and able to deal with this because he's trying to clean up that bottom minion wave.
And so here we are with a 2-0 kill lead as well as a 2-0 turret lead right here. Only thing keeping Skyline in the game is their Akali and the Dragon. Cloud9 Temp is looking very happy to keep the siege in the mid lane, at least a little bit. Bishu certainly holding this lane strongly and not falling behind very much in minions anymore either. Finished Atheans only 17 minions away. And it's now interesting because Skyline have sent Golden Glue, the Akali, I guess not so much a split push in the bottom lane, but certainly sweeping up a lot of the farm here.
So Bishu, even though he was sort of behind that in lane, he can clear out the minion waves very well. The only problem he would run into is if he extended very far up that lane, because Akali's got her completed Hextech Gunblade, and she's got kill potential because of the slow added.
So be careful of Golden Glue. Bishu does want to stay in this lane for now, though. Sweeping away some of the minions. He's pretty safe so far. Getting rid of these guys, not a big problem. So, again, the game's slowing down, but Cloud9 certainly looking at sieging gameplay.
Well, yeah,
here.
it's going all according to plan for Cloud9 here, because if they keep the lanes as is, the same thing that happened to the bottom lane is going to happen to the mid lane here. It's a Caitlyn and an Annie, super range, versus the Sivir and Leona. They won't really be able to defend another turret, and another one will go down.
All right, well, Golden Glue not in the best spot. Get the penalty and is invisible. Does not get hit by the Dragon penalty. Here comes the team. Taunt not going to land on anyone. Bishu running away, trying to go down. He will drop. Kez now running with Ragnarok on, but doesn't get much for that. Mid lane turret did go down during this, but Skyline on a 5v4.
Beautiful little bait right there. Golden Glue attracts 2 members, and they're able to pull off the very sneaky Shen ultimate this time. Catching Bishu unawares, turns it into a kill and some turret pressure here, but you know, since they're melee,
Will they dive Kez
very
here,
dangerous.
though? Yep, Golden Glue goes in, lands a...
No Ragnarok left, but also no... oh no, the Gunblade's back up.
It came up mid-combo. Because the single target spells and auto attacks reducing the cooldown, he got it up during the dash, but didn't go in for Kez. Instead, they go for the turret pressure, probably a smarter choice, and that is the first turret on the scoreboard here for Skyline, bringing the score back only 1,300 with Dragon spawning in 20 seconds.
Dragon spawning in 20 seconds, plus this Renekton has been free farming up top there with that Hydra. So that's a very fast farming Renekton. He can shove the wave and then rotate all the way down. He doesn't even need teleport to go to this Dragon fight. The Cloud9 team can time it and just call everyone down there.
Well, everyone is heading down here. Look at this. All 5 members on this side of the map running over. Skyline trying as well, but they are a bit slower here. Will C9T start this in time? Everyone's on the way, but no, it's going to be started. Dragon might go down before Skyline can retaliate for this one. Down to half HP already.
Or vision for them as well.
Let's see what they can do. This is going to be a very dead Dragon. Golden Glue getting jumped on, not in his smoke cloud. Dragon goes down, but the fight has begun. Who's going to take the damage? Golden Glue knocked around in the back line, has to jump over the wall and does go down. Shen trades one back. One throw in this battle, impactful in a bad spot, trying to get away, flashing out of this one. No one's going to find any kills just yet, but Evan's in a really bad spot, impactful also. Looks like more kills coming in for Cloud9 Tempest, 3-1 now in this battle. There's not a lot of places for Skyline to go. Now it's NK Inc. onto a Cupcake. That's going to be another kill picked up, 4-1 plus a Dragon for Cloud9 Tempest.
Yeah, so that's why the losing team should never be rushing into a Dragon, even if they know that it's up. They have bad vision in here. Golden Glue gets caught stunned outside of his shroud, so he's not invisible. And he goes down the same time as Bishu. That's a great trade for Cloud9 because Bishu can get off a combo that does a whole bunch of damage, whereas Akali needs sustained damage to have the same impact. And from that point on, Cloud9 just have the upper hand. It was a bit spread out of a battlefield there. As you could see, Altec was having to flash back towards his tanks just to get on the right side. But after those 2 mid laners exchanged, not only is Golden Glue, you know, most of the gold there for the team, but they need his sustained damage. So from that point on, it's all Cloud9.
Oh, very well played right here by these guys. Yasuki just with that farm lead definitely kind of soloed impactful in that fight. Saber had a really hard time with this one. Skyline though off the recall gets a bit of time to push down mid lane. Will they stay for this one? It's a bit dangerous. Bishu has ulti. Will he go for a knockback here? Pushing forward, slowed down.
Renekton's coming down from the top, so they're sort of cutting him off here.
Will they find much? They're going to walk into the Shen. Jezzy in a really bad spot. Jumps over the wall. Stunned by Annie. Slowed up. Stunned out by Renekton. Knocked back into the team. Jezzy got nowhere to go. He's going to go down. Kez picked up his 3rd kill in a row here. And that is pretty nice for Cloud9 Tempest.
Yeah, the extra mobility that they gained by taking those turrets down really early, definitely paying off for Cloud9. They just seems like they have been the ones with the game plan here. Early rotations after their turrets were taken down, and not much of an answer from SKL because they were behind so early, and their wave clear on that Sivir wasn't even up to par to be able to defend their mid turret.
And so the push is going to continue now on the bottom side right here. This tier 2 turret likely to fall down pretty quickly, but the engage is going to come in from Skyline. What will they go for? The jump onto the backline. Altec taking a bunch of pain. One goes down. Can they go mental? Gold and blue fighting on a Bijou. There comes Shen as well, but the kills are coming back from Olaf. 2 for 1 so far. Double kill. 3 kills coming across. This is so good for Skyline. NK getting away from the fight. Now can they chase down Glebe, Glarbu, and Kez? There's the dash in. Gold and blue finds another one. One more dash up. Has a red buff. Looks for Kez. Goodbye. That's going to be an ace. Look at the engage there by Skyline.
Oh god, the Fed Akali. Let's take another look at this fight from the very beginning here. You talked about the engage. It was a good ball breaker and assault and battery by NK, and they do not hesitate. In the early game, we were talking about how, you know, Leona plus Shen plus Vi is really good hard engage. Everyone jumps in there at the same time, and Akali kind of gets to hide in the health bars of her own team. So they aren't able to focus her down. If they don't take out that damage at the beginning of the fight like they did at Dragon, then he's just going to rip through them.
And look how sad Caitlyn was. Like, just took every ulti, like, literally every ultimate that could affect an enemy champion did on Caitlyn. Hasted people up, Shen came in, dashed over. Of course, a second turret did go down from that bottom lane there, so Skyline bringing the turret game very close, only 1 turret apart. The kills only 1 apart, 1,000 gold game. It's wide open again.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's what's going to happen when you have the Zerg team versus the Tower Siege team. If the Zerg team gets off the great initiate like that, then it's going to go all their favor. But if they are unable to do that, then it's going to go completely the other story. And if things play passively, then the sieging team is slowly going to get more and more turrets that will give them the gold to deal with that. So we'll have to see if this Zerg squad here from SKL are going to be able to pull it out again.
Let's see if they can do it. Bishu wearing a blue buff. He's going to be happy with this one. Ink on his way back out of the base and is becoming very tanky. You look at the builds here, and it looks like an early Thornmail here for Shen, and the Randuin's, of course, already completed for NK Inc. So the front line getting pretty big. These divers, these sort of, I guess they're Ultralisks at this point on the Zerg team, gonna survive into the back line with the Zerglings deal damage from afar.
Yeah, like even Sivir,
Almost.
I guess, is barely a ranged champion. One of the shortest attack ranges for an AD carry. She counts
more like a Roach
maybe a Hydralisk.
Yeah.
Maybe if she's Red.
Hydralisk or Roach, maybe. Golden Glue more like a Baneling, I guess, if we're going to go all out with this one. Let's see how these guys can do it. Here we go. Cloud9 Tempest looking to siege the mid lane. Of course, a little bit early for Baron, so neither team going for that one. Lichbane, oh man, already done for Golden Glue, so that's fun. Hextech Gunblade into Lichbane. That's pretty single target focused. Golden Glue's going to have a really fun time destroying guys in the back line.
So this Cloud9 team, in the next team fight, they're going to have a good shot caller for the actual team fight, because Glebe Garbu needs to land a stun on Akali, and they need to drop a pink ward for vision. Or, you know, upgrade some of those lenses so that they can just pop the Oracle's lens. But they need something to focus the Akali there. So if it's going to be Glebe, then it should definitely be him upgrading that Oracle's pretty soon.
Yeah, I think he does have it, actually. I think that is an upgrade little tinge right there. I know the icon doesn't change very much. It's kind of like Boot Chance. Yeah, it's a little red circle, though. I'm like 99% sure he's got that one. But but here's the fun thing. It's got a minute cooldown. If he sweeps wards, there's like a minute cooldown where it's like, oh, they can't find Golden Glue. Let's go.
Well, somebody's got a pink ward there, too.
Okay,
so
sure.
He's got 2 answers.
All right. Here we go. Ward coverage starting around. Hey, there's the pink ward. Looks like Dragon pretty well under control. Cloud and Tempest looking for this one. Shen ulti is available here.
And with that pink ward down, you know, it's already prepped for this fight around Dragon. So Cloud9 are ready.
There's the dive on it. Altec getting jumped on, does get away from this one though, and Impact will force her to run away from Yasuki in the back line. But it's Golden Glue finding Bishu. Impactful still on the run and cutting successfully. NK coming back to help him out. Another kill traded there. Shen alive, finds the taunt. Yasuki not in a good spot right here. Impactful staying alive as well. 2 for 1, make that almost 3 for 1, but the flash gets Yasuki out of the fight. Golden Glue did in fact die for his kill, but a 2 for 1 still.
Well, you could see the good focus from Cloud9. They were chasing around Golden Glue, trying to get him down. But since their AD carry was spread out and Bishu was spread out, he had multiple people to jump through that not only he was trying to kill, but also gave him distance from the rest of the team.
Very well played fight right here. Good stuff. 9-9 now in kills. This game is just dead even. 38.3 thousand apiece. This is the closest you can get in gold, but it's equal. And Skyline have really impressed me right here, turning this game around from what was a pretty fair deficit. Yasuki can't keep his turret alive. That makes it 4-4 right there. And now Skyline for the first gold lead they've had, I think, all game.
I think, it's very dangerous because Glebe Glarblue definitely was focused on Golden Glue that time. He got his stun off, and they had the pink ward prepped, but they need the damage to finish him off because they only got him to half, and you can see how much spell vamp he was getting back there. They almost didn't even take him down. There's just so many other things to worry about because the Shen and Vi, you can't ignore them, and Leon is coming in, stun locking your damage as well. The Zerg team definitely doing what it was designed to quite well there. Everyone just jumps in onto the back line and takes down Caitlyn.
We'll see if they hide in a brush. We'll call that burrowing later on. But Skyline, oh, Jesse getting knocked around. Likely to go down, taunts away, but is going to drop right here. Good kill picked up. Looks like C9T is the one who cloaked around and found that one in the brush. And they're going to keep the movement going. What are they going to look for? Mid lane, it looks like the Siege. Akali left a split push in the bottom.
Yeah, she's actually going to recall here. Even with one member down, they can actually hold waves pretty well. Even though they can't siege up waves, they do have Sivir. So her wave clears fine now because she's gotten that fully stacked Bloodthirster.
I'm surprised she didn't go Static Shiv, though, to even help that wave clear even more. Did go Phantom Dancer here, but surprising choice to me, but we'll see how it pans out. Golden Glue is bottom side, level 15. Actually the highest in the game, tied with Renekton. So very powerful Akali here. Looks like top lane is the Siege for Cloud9 Tempest. They have minions there in about 3 seconds, and that turret can likely fall quickly. Akali has shown up, but even with a 5v4, Cloud9 don't want this fight yet.
So Akali recalling in the bottom lane tips them off. They don't want to get a full engage once again, so they're just gonna bide their time here. It's definitely something that's got to be worrying them because they haven't been able to keep track of that Akali with all of the other tanks coming in with so much CC.
I really like Skyline's composition, though.
Yeah?
Like, when I saw the Sivir, I was like, well, I mean, you don't really need Shen and Vi to run that fast because they can deliver themselves anyway. But it's really just the fact that Akali can show up too so easily and they can follow through. It's a very impressive comp. I guarantee you it's one that they have prepped specifically. They know, like, yeah, we'll get these 5, and none of them are, like, huge priority picks, aside from, like, the Vi and Leona kind of. So you can put this team together pretty easily in a champ select.
I mean, it's definitely a full steam ahead, one direction we're going with this comp, but it definitely works if you're able to catch the other team. And Cloud9 don't really have a great split pusher, so they don't really have the option of trying to wait out SKL. Really what they need to do is get some good ward coverage and try and catch someone like they caught Shen before earlier.
We'll see if these guys can do it. Looks like Cloud9 Tempest, though, forced to play much more defensively. They're relinquishing map control, it seems, to Skyline, saying like they're around the engage range of like 2,000 from these guys. Like Sivir ulti, Flash, Vault Breaker ulti, like someone's going to get caught if that happens. So C9T playing very defensively, putting wards down as they leave, but their way into this game, I haven't seen it in a while. It just seems like it's C9T slipping back more and more.
Yeah, as soon as we saw that first display of the coordinated all-in engage from this team, it's really been a completely different story. Early game, definitely going to Cloud9, but something that SKL seemed like they were willing to give up with this comp.
Interesting stuff right here. So, game definitely slowed down. C9T not giving Skyline the ability to dive in here. And Skyline, they can't siege. They're not going to dive under turrets with arguably a fairly squishy lineup here. So I say squishy with like 3 tanks in the group, but still, it feels like they're really hesitant to dive, and so they're playing it kind of safely as well, looking for more open field fights.
Take a look at that Shen and his armor stacking.
Yeah,
and we'll see how long they have to wait before he's the point man on the turret dives, because he's getting close to the point where he can shrug those off and start the dive action. Yeah. They'd much rather, though, catch him out in the jungle. Somewhere like that here. So
almost have a chance here, actually. Don't quite go for it. Mid lane turret kind of nearby. I'm like, whenever they're like in the same screen, I'm like, this might be the engage.
Yes, because it very well could be.
Uh-oh, Golden Glue. Ooh, he jumps away, but this is going to be rough. Blocked there by NK Inc.
Cloud9 need to take this opportunity, though. They've got the main member of SKL down right now. Golden Glue is super low. He has to go back to base. So they're going to need to make something happen off of this.
And what a call by Skyline, by the way. No Shen ulti burned. Golden Glue knew he could get out, and it's like, no, it's fine. I don't need it.
Golden Glue's got
Ooh.
home guards. There's no window for them to take anything back. You have to
maybe
finish
ward
him
control?
off. You can't let him go with any amount of life.
Well, Cloud9T, 28 seconds till Dragon. Ward's getting swept on all sides. Looks like they're going to go for the fight. All right, Kez getting jumped on. Pop's ulti. There's the dive in. They find Impactful. Leon hits as well. A lot of damage coming across. Glebe Glarber just gets exploded there. Yasuki in the front line. Not that huge of a tank, though. Kez getting jumped on. No more Ragnarok. He's going to go down as well. Gragas not making the disengage happen. Actually, ulti was down, so another 2 for 0. Dragon's up in 5 seconds.
Even when Altec is able to get away from Vi after the ulti, he still has to be so scared of the rest of the engage from the rest of the team that he can't put out any damage. So, because he's running for his life the whole time, Caitlyn has to be able to auto-attack from the back lines. He's not able to do that because he's always running, so even if they don't kill him, he's not putting out any damage.
You know, I gotta say, that Golden Glue catch a little while ago, all planned by Skyline.
Yeah.
Dragons
all
and Anti-ults both down.
Exactly.
And that was just,
It was Wraith Camp is what it was. Without
Yeah.
that Wraith Camp, he was a dead man.
absolutely the case. So I'm glad that there was a ward in the brush, allowed him to jump to the Wraiths too. Like, so many things went right there for Skyline, but good stuff for these guys. Now a 2,000 gold lead, the first substantial gold lead they've had for more than 12 seconds so far in this game. It's definitely looking better for these guys, looking for fights and finding them. And if I'm Cloud9 Tempest, I stop trying to fight dragons because they've backfired a lot recently now.
Yeah, you got to think, like, what is their next go-to plan? Because they have not had a lot of luck sieging up the turrets either. If they go anywhere, really, within, what you just said, like 1,200 range of SKL, then they're going to get engaged upon.
And the money's kind of pouring in now for Skyline. Like, the really rough duo lane there that held Impactful down, he's up to 1-1 and 9, a bunch of assist gold, 3 completed items, equal CS to Caitlyn. The damage threats are... I mean, look at this. He's even got more gold for an incredibly lost lane. The Sivir.
Yeah, he's fine now. It's a lot to do with how scared this Cloud9 team has had to be after that first engage. They haven't been able to freely farm even waves that are open. If they're too far out, then they just have to let them die to other minions.
Well, here we go. Baron Nashor, ward control. Both these guys actually can see it, so no control at all, just vision. Zonya's nearly done for Golden Glue. That's going to help him in fights.
Man, like, if you're in Altec shoes, you can't even shoot this Shen. Because not only does he have a blade mail, but he's also got Randuin. So if you shoot him, you're going to be killing yourself, and you're going to make yourself slow, so you can't get away from anyone.
Oh, yeah, you're just kind of sad if you're an auto attacker at this point. And he's got nothing else to really hit. MK Ink's got a Randuin's too. And here's the engage.
They
Altec.
saw him!
Goodbye. Goodbye, Altec. Goodbye. Didn't even need the Leon ulti. Like, that was completely on a corpse right there, but scorched him. And now I feel like this is a good chance for Baron.
Like, look, he's on the screen. Kill him.
Yep.
And success. So that's a lot of ultimates down, though. Since they use Sivir as well as Leona as well as Vi. That's a lot of their utility down, but all the damage there for C9.
All right, how can they play around the Baron? Of course,
Gragas steal, question mark?
he's too far away. C9 gives them the respect and just gives away not gives away, but leaves the Baron to pick up by Skyline. 4,000 gold now, wearing a Baron buff, 5v5 on the map soon enough, and these guys are looking so awesome now. Impactful killing some Wraiths, I like it. But now, I feel like if I'm Sivir, I buy defensive items, because you're just there to make Akali look good. Like, don't let Yasuki kill you. Make sure you get, a GA or something. No, BF sword. All right, he wants damage.
Yep, time for more kills. Need more damage. All I have to worry about, like Void Boy said, best CC is death.
They're going to bring it. So Giant Tank Shen now finally starting some magic resist. And one thing I was thinking about as Shen was building his build, right? Randuin's into Sunfire, Randuin's Thornmail. No CDR on that champion at all. Still finding ways to get into the fights pretty well with Shen ultis. Like, normally we saw Visage getting rushed early, and it would give him a lot more Shen ultis with the 20, now 10 CDR. Didn't even try to get it, and it didn't seem to hold him down any.
I mean, even when the Shen ulti is down, this SKL team can bluff. If they run at you, then this C9 has to scatter. So, I don't know. Really, the only counter engage they have is Bishu's got to throw his Gragas ultimate. As soon as Sivir speeds up the team, he's got to just throw that thing out there and try to knock them back to buy time for the rest of his team to regroup.
Yeah.
Thing is, they're going to be able to siege up around turrets now. And this is going to be the point where SKL have to dive a turret. So we'll have to see if Shen is split pushing, they don't have him to be the first person taking turret damage. And it's going to be on NK instead, who, he's got a good amount of armor, but it's not nearly what Shen's packing.
That's going to be interesting then. So Shen bottom lane has the ulti. Everyone on Cloud9 Tempest, aside from Glebe, have picked up Spectre's cowls on their way to, I assume, Banshee's Veil.
Yeah, probably going to be too little too late, though. Even if Vi doesn't ulti Altec, he's going to have a really, really rough time. Like we said, dealing even just with the Shen.
Now Jezzy and Yazuki in a fight right here. Yazuki forced away. Mid lane now the target of the siege, and Skyline really just looking for rotations, trying to find ways in, happily tanking the turret, not even caring, sweeping with the minions to find something else to do. But C9T really good at defending here. This is going to be, I think this is hard to crack open for Skyline.
I mean, they're going to go for the turret dive.
They've got to.
They've got to. That's the options. When you build a beastly team fighting team like this, you don't really have any other options. So Shen tanking up some turrets hit there. Doesn't even affect him. It looks like that will be a successful strategy. Because Cloud9, they can't really do anything but team fight this team, and that's not going to turn out well for them.
It's really not. I don't know how you deal with this at all. I feel
you either need a global so you can split push, which they don't, or they need a strong assassin who can split push, which they don't, or they have to pick somebody off and count on a mistake from SKL and good ward coverage.
So
and they don't even really have good ward coverage. So options limited, Freak.
Wait up, Baron. Try to burst people out with Anti-Gragas, and then hope you have the follow-up. That's my guess. That's pretty much all they got. And here they go.
There's the re-engage. Vi's not with the team, but neither is Altec, so it's 4-on-4.
Ascension used in the re-engage coming. Jezzy not landing the taunt. Bishu jumping away from this one. Sivir ulti was used to help the team disengage. NK Inc. forced away. Altec getting some more farm. Maybe like 6 Adam Caitlyn can do something if they wait forever, but...
He's got a bit of magic with the Shiv and some armor penetration, but the power's not there. There's no Phantom Dancer, no Infinity Edge. So he's going to have to farm up a long time. Really, they just need a turtle under these turrets and take advantage of the tower dive when it comes.
Well, we'll see if they can find the fight they need when that turret dive does come in, because Skyline has still got plenty of gold still to earn. These guys mostly at about 3 items apiece, so they've all got 2 big item slots still to fill up with, and it seems like Dragons and Barons are going to be given to them without any contest, aside from like making sure that they're not being too greedy. So I feel like Skyline's gold is going to keep going up relative to their opponents, and are going to find more item windows. You talked about the tanky Shen just taking a turret and not caring. I think that's going to keep happening here and get worse.
The last lone secondary turret that's standing outside of the inhibitor ring, I think, should be going down pretty soon there. SKL could return to that spot fairly easily.
So 3 Randwoods now, by the way. Ephaniscus has picked one up. Giant friggin' front line now. 100% here for Skyline.
Plus, they just completed 2 Veils.
Yeah. So the engage in the front line also gone. Ascension, of course, picked up for both these guys, though. Mikhail's slightly helpful here for Cloud9 Tempest. Glebe Glabu has one, so he's finding some things to do. I would almost, like, really want Leandri's Annie here if I'm Cloud9 Tempest, just to try to get rid of some of this front line, who've been kind of greedy with armor for the most part.
At least soften them up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe something. We'll see. Jezzy split pushing the bottom lane. I like Golden Glue. He's like waiting around, seeing if someone will challenge Shen. Not finding it. He will find the red buff here, but this is a little bit risky. Skyline with a 3-2 split. If they guess wrong and get jumped on, like there's no ward coverage on the bottom right down here.
You know, this is what Cloud9 are waiting for. They could hop on this situation while Akali's in the forest there, if they knew that she was by herself. They don't know where she is, though, so it's still dangerous for them to make their move.
They don't seem to know this. Baron up in 1 minute. Skyline keeping all the
Oh,
minions.
they just pinged her out. Just pinged that recall. Maybe that was just coincidence.
Maybe. They said, hey, we don't have vision here. Don't run through this area.
Akali can be there.
There could be an Akali. Due potential, at least Akali, which is more than enough to scare anybody away.
Akali is enough of a dude to scare away Freak.
Dude, I mean, DP5 is normally what it takes. DP Akali is just enough. Here we go.
Please specify that you mean dude potential
Dude
when
potential.
you say that, freak.
Sorry.
Please.
I apologize. Yes.
Oh, God.
Hybrid penetration mastery, of course, is here for Golden Glue. Anyway, 25 seconds on Baron. They're leaving Jesse bottom lane. He's going to take the double golems while he waits, so
Right.
just still accruing gold.
So we're still going to be looking at the same situation. Shen split pushing bottom. Rest of the team's going to be at Baron. If you're Cloud9, you could say, hey, there's no way we're going to beat them at Baron. Let's 5-man try and snag this Shen. See if we can get 1 kill for ourselves and tank out their main tank. Because we've already seen when a team rushes over to Dragon with no vision, it really turned out poorly for them.
Yeah.
Same thing's going to happen around Baron. And if they just get close, then Sivir will pop her ult and they'll catch them anyway.
So some decent ward coverage here, and looks like Shen going to be
left.
left.
It's gonna be a rumble.
Okay.
Rumble at the Baron pit.
Here we go. Cloud9 jumping their way in. Some wards as they go for the dive is here. Here we go. Who's going to get jumped on? NK looking for the back line. Finds Bishu. Finds Altec as well. The dive has begun. Altec going to be safe. Bishu still getting chased down. Altec's going to fall to Jezzy while the Gragas drops as well. Making that one happen. 2-0. Evidence is still chasing down. 3-0. Yatsuki jumped in as well. Make that 4-0. Only Glebe Glarby left alive. Skyline sure to pick this one up.
So Golden Glue is able to simultaneously chase down Bishu and Altec while hiding the front line there. Because Bishu and Altec are running for the hills, they're creating distance for him to jump to. And man, SKO look like they are just going to end it off this win.
And the 7,000 armor front line is going to tank the double Nexus turrets. Not a big deal for NK Inc. Jezzy and Evaniscus. First one about to go down. No minions to make them dive faster, but they just don't seem to care. And he's got nowhere to go. And there we go. 20 seconds on recalls. Game 1 gonna go to Skyline here. This is a great result by these guys with an awesome team comp.
I'm a fan of this one.
Yeah.
I have to say, as far as team comps that are just like best team fight, you have to bring something else, because if you already are forced into a team fight composition of your own, like you don't have your split pushing answer, you don't have your mobility answer. Like, what are you going to do besides try and fight this team? They're just going to accrue a bigger and bigger gold lead.
They're just built to fight you, and it's not like Cloud9 had a bad set of champions. Like Renekton top, great. Olaf jungle, awesome. Bishu on Gragas, absolutely wonderful. Annie, Caitlyn won their lane hard. None of that mattered.
I think they needed a little bit more playmaking from the Gragas and Annie. Maybe splitting up the team, trying to get somebody stunned out there, and they just weren't able to find it.
Well, that's going to be all kinds of crazy. And just think about like the next pick and ban phase now, because I'm wondering if you pick the same team if you're Skyline, or if you're like, I think they'll figure it out next time around, and they got to go something different.
So there have been a lot of different answers to just team fight oriented compositions, and if you don't have the surprise factor, then probably won't work out as well.
Got to find something different. Well, we'll see what the adaptation ends up being. Guys, we've got to take a quick break, but when we return, it's time for Game 2 between Skyline and Cloud9 Tempest. With one more win, Golden Glue and crew will pull off the upset and advance to the semifinals. The 2014 North American Challenger Series will be right back, so stick around.